$174.11 an ounce. The rand's at 17.36 to the dollar, at 23.71 to the pound, at 20.57 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $68.25 a barrel.
Selby, bumper-to-bumper traffic, M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. Also heading into the Joburg CBD. There's heavy delays in Amalgam on Main Reef Road between Nasrec and Anderson. Alex accident scene. N3 northbound near Marlborough Drive, causing heavy delays all the way from Modderfontein Road.
In your sports, the Springboks keep faith with squad for Crunch Argentina Rugby Championship tests. Eric Tinkler keeping his feet on the ground after Sekhukhune United thrash Kaizer Chiefs. And the PGA Tour season opening tournament forced to move due to Maui drought.
A look at your weather. It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng. Today, temperatures are peaking at highs between 25 and 29 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour, KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has answered to questions on the operational costs of the political killings task team in the province.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 10 minutes past 3 on Wednesday, the 17th of September. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into Police Corruption is finally underway. After a morning session that was very much about establishing foundations and setting the scene, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is now starting to get into the meat of the allegations he made in a press conference that seems, to me at least, like it was a year ago. Oren Singh, our EWN colleague, will share his thoughts and give us updates throughout the show. Some other stories we're covering. Why is it so difficult to root ghost workers out of the government system? There's been a presentation and a suggestion of solutions in Parliament today. Babalo Ndenze joining us with those details shortly. Critics of Israel's actions in Gaza welcomed the United Nations Commission finding that these actions constitute genocide. But what practical impact might this finding have when international condemnation in the past seems to have had little effect? Mark Latimer from the Ceasefire Center for Civilian Rights joins us to share his thoughts. That's after 4. And this is National Wills Week. Lots of campaigns around getting this part of your personal life in order. Paul Rulofso gives us his take on the issue in our weekly feature, Minding Your Money. We'll bring you that at 10 to 5. We've got all that and a whole lot more on 702 Drive, including breaking news, news from the roads in our regular traffic updates, and the latest from the markets. On the JSE, the all shares dipped below 105,000, falling by around 100 points. Platinum stocks down today, Implats by 3.2%, Northam by 3.1%, and Sibanya by 2.6%. Doing much better so far, though. Premier riding good results from yesterday, up by 6.7%. Woolworths has gained 4.9%, Dis-Chem up 3.4%. Retail stocks generally doing well on news of a fall in inflation numbers, 3.5% the last time we heard, 3.3%. The current number. You feeling any difference? Life feeling just a little bit easier? Pockets not quite as tight and pinched? Give us a thought on that on 072 702 1702. Generally good news on the currency. Rand currently trading at 17.37 against the dollar. Pretty much where it was yesterday, 20.57. We'll get you a euro that's slightly up. A pound will cost 23 Rand and 71 cents. The oil price is down by 21 cents today, currently trading at $68.23 a barrel. Motea Khoripe joins us with all the details at 25 past 4. We'll have sport with Tolakele Mganga. Maki Molapo has the latest news headlines, and Karabo Chale is keeping an eye on the roads. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live. If it's happening in 702 land, you'll hear about it first. With your help, of course. Contact us on 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702. And by the way, if you have been able to watch some of the Madlanga Commission, maybe you're watching right now, any thoughts? Use those numbers to share those as well. 702 Drive, it's 14 past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
As always, we hope we've got lots to talk about. We think we do, lots to inquire about. I've certainly got some questions for all sorts of people. And as always, there's lots to think about, including those random thoughts, including amongst the random thoughts about long ago TV shows. Jonathan Fairburn, Kabazela, what popped that into your head?
Afternoon, John. Yeah, I mean, if you think back some of the TV shows that have been played throughout your life, maybe, your mind takes you back to a particular show that you used to watch and you get a smile on your face, right? And
Yes.
you get a smile on your face, not because it was the most amazing TV show, but maybe there were circumstances around your life at that particular time that were good memories, happy times. So what we wanted to ask this afternoon is basically, what are those TV shows that take you back to a time and a place where it was good memories in your life, And
Yes.
maybe you're watching something now and you've got good memories as well. Maybe you've just had the birth of a child and you're sitting at home breastfeeding and you're watching some series or binging some series to pass the time, right? So if I had to think back, it takes me back to 29 C.R. Swart Road, Willow Park, where the house I grew up in. I think it was 6 o'clock most weeknights was Isidingo that used to come on. So like we had eaten dinner as a family, then we'd gather in the lounge and my sister would be in the opposite couch lying down. I would be on the one couch with my mom lying down, her feet over my lap, and then my dad sitting on the one couch to the right. And then we would just watch Isidingo, Monday to Friday. And it was nice. It was just like, as a family we gathered and we sat and we watched like a favorite TV show that we all watched together as a family.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds very companionable. Hey, end of the day, you've eaten, you're all together, and obviously you like the show. Otherwise, why would you have been there? Okay, so that's great. So I think very clear from Kabazela, not just a TV show that you used to watch that you liked, but that stirs up memories. And he's given a great example from his own life. I nearly said his old life, but it's both.
Well, thank you.
Karabo, I mean, thoughts?
Yeah, like I watch my kid watch like TV shows the whole day on a weekend, chilling on the couch with no worries in the world. Life is easy. And I remember those days when I was his age, also watching Bud Spencer. Bud Spencer, remember?
Bud Spencer.
Yeah,
And
Bud
Terence Hill.
Spencer.
They call me Trinity.
That comedy used to crack me up. I remember we had like VCRs, and because I loved it so much, I think it played on Saturdays on weekends, and I'd always just wake up and chill on the couch and watch it. And my dad realized I loved it, and then he went to go find like VCRs of those series, and those was like the best days of my lives. No worries, just watching this big guy beating up the bad boys, and it was very funny. And then the other one, I remember on Sunday evenings after church, while we're having our 7 colors, we used to have open view. That was like our opportunity to watch Mnet, because obviously we couldn't afford it.
Open time.
Open time,
Yeah.
yes. And then we used to watch Goofy, so we never missed it. We all watched it as a family, because that was the only time we could actually watch the Popeye cartoons in the evenings, because they never used to play on in the evenings on SABC or whatever it was back then. So great days.
The best days are still ahead. I was just telling you. Still to come. Doesn't mean you can't have had your best days before, but there's more best days still to come. Trust me on that. So TV shows that take you back to good times in your life, not just the show and why you liked it, although clearly that's part of it. Otherwise, why were you watching? But memories that it stirs up, connections, maybe to family members or friends, or particular time in your life when maybe things seemed simpler. Probably because they were. 18 minutes past 3.
Drive home with John Perlman.
On 702, let's walk the talk.
Right, let's get you out into the traffic, and then once you're in the traffic, out of the traffic again. That's pretty much what a lot of people are contemplating at this time of day. Oh, man, Got to get myself home at the end of a long and presumably and hopefully productive day. Karabo Charlie, what are the roads like?
Well, if you're leaving Germiston heading towards the Midrand area, there's an accident scene, I'm afraid, in the Alex area. This is N3 northbound near Marlborough Drive, causing heavy delays in both directions. This is between Morafontein Road and the Patlu interchange. Also slow-moving traffic that's leaving the Santon area on Catherine Street between West Street and Greyston, while in Selby, bumper-to-bumper traffic that's leaving the Joburg CBD M2 westbound from the Crown interchange to Main Reef Road. Protea Glen, traffic remains sluggish. N12 westbound from the R554 Abu Bakr Drive all the way to the R558. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella,
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
The day we have all been waiting for has finally arrived. The Madlanga Commission into corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system begins. When you look at phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, looks like this thing is going to take quite some.
This is not a 6 months piece of work.
It's not.
It was never designed to be a 6 months piece of work. And I think when the president gave timelines, it was partly because of the political pressure he gave himself of not excusing Minister Senzo Mchunu from his job entirely and then give enough space.
Lukhona Mguni, political analyst.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSB and registered credit provider.
Let me get this right, Ron. You're a plumber by day and Pretoria's smoothest wedding DJ by night.
Yeah, it started out as a passion and now I've got bookings until December. And a smoke machine that needs its own seatbelt.
And you sold your car to buy a van through We Buy Cars.
Brew, it was music to my ears. Zero admin, no long queues. They pulled in, checked it out, and before I knew it, I had cash in the bank.
Now that's a banger. We Buy Cars. Geared for your passion, geared for you.
One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Toliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
Did you know the biggest environmental health risk of our time is air pollution? Tomorrow, the Gauteng Department of the Environment, together with the city of Tshwane, commemorates the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. Catch the Clement Maniatella Show live from the JNF Walter Sisulu Environmental Centre in Mamelodi, bringing you all the highlights and live updates. Under the theme Racing for Air, the day raises awareness on air quality issues and inspires sustainable action for a healthier Gauteng. Don't miss it on 702.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So a couple of you are coming up with things, TV shows that take you back to good times in your life. Silokelo says the best was as a family watching Sanford and Son on Sunday at dinner time. This one from David. I think of a sitcom, Mind Your Language, despite I didn't get some of the jokes. Ranjit Singh and Jeremy Brown, what a comedy. And here we go from Cheryl. She says, damn, Kabazela, don't mention Isidingo, my brother. Every early evening after the sun sets and I happen to be home, that theme song comes to mind. Then I miss Barker Haynes and Cheryl de Villiers. Oh, I thought the message was from Cheryl de Villiers. No, it isn't. I thought Cheryl de Villiers, wasn't that the name of one of the characters? That's from Togozani. Thanks, Togozani. Keep those coming.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Right, let's get, get ourselves out to Limpopo, to a courtroom where the Pala court case is underway. Tabiso Gorba, EWN reporter, has been watching things. You remember all of that, lots and lots of dollars in a couch and everything surrounding it. Tabiso, what came out in the courtroom today? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. I can tell you, John, that as we speak, a man, obviously there's a court order that we cannot identify the state's witnesses. So for now, we'll just call him the driver, John. This is a man who drove the robbers from Limpopo to Gauteng a day after the robbery. So he's a state witness, John. But what has happened is something very interesting. There's been a twist here in court. This man, the driver, he testified in court that after dropping off these alleged robbers, he was paid 7,000 rand. Now, it's interesting because, John, there is a police statement that the driver made a couple of months earlier where he said paid him actually 30,000 US dollars. Now, 7,000 rands and 30,000 US dollars is a big discrepancy. So the state prosecutor, John, wants to invoke Section 189 of the Criminal Procedure Act. It's basically, it was sort of treating him like as a hostile witness, John.
Right.
It was very interesting where the state prosecutor was actually cross-examining his own witness about the discrepancies in his testimony and having the defense lawyers actually try and protect a state witness. So what has happened now, John, we've taken a short adjournment and we are expecting for the magistrate to actually make a decision because the driver is saying, John, that when he made the police statement, he was threatened and he was under pressure, and that what he has said to the police in that statement might not have been necessarily the truth that he's testifying now in court. So now it does look like, John, that we might have sort of a trial within a trial in terms of to determine whether that police statement that he made, that he got 10,000 US dollars from the alleged robbers, whether that can be admitted into evidence or not, because he is implying here that he made that statement under duress.
And just briefly by way of background, Tabi, so obviously when Pala broke, there was no other story. It was so dominant in the news. But sometimes when these matters get to court, there's not really very many people there, not a huge amount of interest. Obviously, the Madlanga Commission is the major story at the moment, and certainly today. But who's in court, and are they there in any numbers?
Unfortunately, John, well, I don't know if it's unfortunate, but there isn't that much of a packed courtroom.
Yes.
As you said, when this story broke, when Arthur Fraser, the former state intelligence man, broke the story, there was a lot of attention. It nearly ended the political career of President Cyril Ramaphosa. But now it's just me and a couple of local reporters from here in Modimole, Limpopo. So not quite a packed courtroom, but I think part of that has to do with the fact that there is obviously the Madlanga Commission. We are in day 2 of the trial, and I do understand that in day 1 it was packed with all the media houses.
Right.
But it seems that all the media houses now put their focus to the Madlanga Commission.
Well, we're very glad you're there because what's happening is interesting indeed. Tabiso Gorba, we may get an update from him a little bit later. They just adjourned. A trial within a trial may well become a possibility out at the Pala court case. And Tabiso will update us as soon as he has something new. News update in a few minutes' time, and of course on the hour and the half hour every hour right here on 702 Drive.
John is on X
at John Perlman.
Well, from one person in a witness stand who has said, well, no, I didn't actually say that. I was under duress, to an accused making exactly the same claim. The alleged arsonist in the burning of the Usundiso building with its terribly tragic consequences last year is in court again, claiming that he didn't do it, despite at one point saying he did. The latest from Alpha Ramushwana, our EWN colleague. Alpha, what happened today? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Today was another interesting day in the Parliamentary Magistrates Court where Thembiso Mdlalose appeared on 76 counts of murder, attempted murder, and arson. And you'd remember from our conversation last week that he came to court and said that his confession, where he confessed and admitted to starting the Usindiso fire, was a lie. That was last week. He said all of that was a lie. Today he came back again and said some of the contents of his testimony from last week were also a lie, and saying that he has been really lying under oath ever since the trial began. So what happened today is that he got visibly emotional when he was being cross-examined by the judge because of some of the discrepancies and the contradictions in his statements. Last week he told the court that when the Usindiso building caught fire, he was on the third floor of the 5-story building, sitting with his friends, and saw smoke and noticed that the building was on fire and escaped through the window. Today he told the court that when the building caught fire, he was nowhere near the building. He was not even in the vicinity of the 5-story property. So the defense questioned him about these discrepancies, the contradictory statements. And the more they started questioning him, he got emotional and stormed out of court. So the state couldn't finish its cross-examination. He stormed out of court when they were questioning him about the discrepancies, and the case has been postponed to the 15th of October, where the state will continue with its cross-examination. So today, really, they couldn't finish the case. He stormed out of court. He was emotional. And the defense said, his lawyer said that he was mentally exhausted and that they needed a few weeks to get him back in shape.
Alpha Ramashwana updating us on that all-important court case and bringing us to 3:30. Lots of other things happening. Let's get the very latest Eyewitness news. Maki Mulapo, I'm sure, starting with what's happening at the Madlanga Commission. Over to you.
That's right, John. Thanks. Good afternoon. KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has revealed how the Provincial Political Killings Task Team was roped in to assist with investigations in Gauteng. He's currently testifying on day one of public hearings in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria. Mkhwanazi says the call for assistance for the Political Killings Task Team to assist Gauteng organised crime came from intelligence head Dumsani Khumalo. Oren Singh has more.
The KZN Political Killings Task Team were requested to assist Gauteng organised crime in the investigations into the assassination of Vereniging engineer Armand Swart. Mkhwanazi alleges that the Gauteng detectives, as well as prosecution team assigned to the case, began receiving threats following the arrest of 3 people for Swart's murder. Reading from a letter sent to him by the senior public prosecutor, Mkhwanazi details how much the accused were paid for the hit.
The investigation has proven that all 3 accused are involved in a serious organized crime syndicate, of which almost R1 million was offered for the assassination in this regard.
Mkhwanazi says a team from outside the province, the Political Killings Task Team, were requested to investigate the matter. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
In the courts, a state witness in the matter of a burglary that happened at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Palapara farm has testified in court that he was threatened before making a statement to police. Emanuela David and siblings Froliana and Ndilina Sho Joseph are accused of breaking into Ramaphosa's farm and stealing $580,000. The trial is on its second day today, with a man who allegedly transported the robbers from Limpopo to Gauteng currently on the stand. The state prosecutor has invoked Section 189 of the Criminal Procedure Act against the driver, who cannot be named. The provision deals with uncooperative witnesses, and if granted by the magistrate, the driver could be sanctioned with a fine or imprisonment. The state says there are discrepancies between his oral testimony in court today and the written statement he gave to police. Speaking through an interpreter, the driver says he was not in the right headspace when he made his statement to police.
I did go through the statement. It's just that some of the questions that were posed to me, they were posed to me while I was still under pressure, because there was other certain people who came at my home looking for accused number one. Accused number one. Okay, many people came threatening me, looking for accused number one.
In the Eastern Cape, one of the men accused of murdering 18 people last year in the province has told the Mthatha High Court sitting in Lusikisiki that he will prove his innocence. Mzuki Sindamase, the alleged mastermind who is legally representing himself in court, is currently cross-examining another suspect turned state witness in the matter, Luando Abi. Ndamase is accused of ordering a hit on Mncedi Sikijana, who was shot and killed in Kwabaka weeks before the Ngobozana village tragedy. Mabaso has more.
The state in this high-profile murder case has linked accused one, Mzuki Sindamase, with the Kwabaka murder of Mncedi Sikijana. Kijana was shot and killed with high-caliber firearms moments after he got home in August last year. A police ballistic expert testified that the firearms used in his assassination were also used in Ngobozana. During his testimony, state witness Luando Abi testified that Ndamase also sent him a picture of Kijana's dead body, saying his chapter has been closed. However, during cross-examination in court today, Ndamase has denied any involvement, saying he was behind bars since 2007. Ndamase, who is legally representing himself, says he will argue that Abi killed Kijana to take over his drug territory. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
And vote counting is underway in Malawi following the country's general elections. Observers say preliminary results from yesterday's vote indicate a strong showing for former President Peter Mutharika. Current President Lazarus Chakwera is seeking a second term, but his predecessor is not backing down. Approximately 3.7 million votes were cast yesterday, despite some delays at polling stations due to issues with fingerprint readers. According to early election figures from the Election Authority, more than 64% of 7.2 million voters cast a ballot. A look at your weather. A fine Wednesday in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures are peaking at highs between 25 and 29 degrees.
Some good news in Alex. That accident scene N3 North near Marlborough Drive has been cleared and traffic is now free flowing. However, traffic remains heavily backed up in the opposite direction. That's on the N3 South from the Bethlehem interchange to London Road. In Sandton, slow-moving traffic on Catherine Street between West and Greyston Drive.
The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has revealed how the Provincial Political Killings Task Team was roped in to assist with investigations in Gauteng.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
When the subject is the integrity of the police itself, that must be a bit tricky for you to manage.
It is tricky indeed, but we mustn't forget that every single day there are hundreds and thousands of law enforcement officers who go to work and do their jobs and do it well. The fact that there are rotten apples, I mean, that is what we are here to do, to get to the bottom of those allegations.
Jeremy Michaels.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Don't miss the Incredible Structures exhibition at the Joburg Contemporary Art Foundation. Discover striking works from leading artists. Entry is free. Book online now at jcaf.org.za.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 750 gram, 780 gram, 850 gram Nola mayonnaise, excluding squeeze bottle, for $38.99. Save R6 with Spar rewards, or 2-liter Spar full cream or low-fat ultra-pasteurized milk for $32.99 with Spar rewards. Plus, you could win your share of R6 million in instant cash. Price is valid until 22 September 2025. While stocks last. T's and C's apply.
Naked people are totally zen, because naked people spend less time on insurance admin and more time meditating and balancing their chakras. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds, and it's all online, so that means no long phone calls. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start meditating like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John. One thing that I think a lot of 702 landers will most probably relate with is every New Year's Eve, they used to play a show on SABC 1, Dinner for One. My mom used to love watching that. That, for me and my family, marked a sign of the new year coming, as well as this one, Mind Your Language. I think a lot of people would love it. Yeah, man, sure. And considering that was like an old show, just resonated for so long. All right, thanks. Great show. Cheers.
Hi, John and listeners. This is Janice here. I have a great memory of a TV show when I was mother of a toddler, and the bear in the big blue house would come, and he was a friendly bear, probably a human being in a bear suit, and he would always begin his show by opening up his house door and saying, "Oh, hello, welcome," and then he would say, "Hold it a minute," and he would start sniffing, and his nose would come right up to the camera, and he would say, "You smell like," and it would be something. And that particular day that my daughter and I were sitting down, I'd decided to make her pancakes for a treat, and this bear came right up to the TV screen and said, "Oh, you smell like pancakes with cinnamon on." And my daughter nearly jumped out of her skin. She was so excited that the bear in the big blue house was talking to her personally. We loved our bear in the big blue house. It was a favorite. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks for those. The question we asked you, if you just joining in and wondering what we're chatting about, TV shows that remind you of some really good and happy times in your life. Cheryl says, I love the Friday evening UK comedy Mind Your Language so much that I found a way to download it and introduced it to my kids. It is a family favorite now. 20 minutes now to 4.
EWN Sport.
So let's start with the Betway Premiership. Tola Kele, some rumours coming out there.
Absolutely, John, and multiple reports are claiming that Kaizer Chiefs have parted ways with head coach Nasruddin Nabi. SABC Sports says the decision comes amid uncertainty around his CAF qualifications, meaning he wouldn't be able to sit on the bench for any of the interclub competition fixtures this season. For Itiski Times, they claim that Nabi is leaving to go back to Tunisia. That's to be with his wife following her car accident earlier in the campaign. Of course, the pending announcement follows on from last night's loss to Skokune United. Eric Tinkler's side remain unbeaten and are the new log leaders after they claimed a 3-1 win over the Glamour Boys.
No, I think it's still very early days. It's only 6 games into the league. There's still a very, very long road. And I warned the players about complacency because, we started well. We got 13 points from our first 5 games. But now I understand, you're a target and, you're going to have to raise your level. You're going to have to work even harder than what you did in the first cycle.
Bongimbo Nambi and Faf de Klerk have been called up to the Springbok squad ahead of the Rugby Championship games against Argentina. There's no place for Louis Diaga, Jean-Luc Duprier and Apelele Fassi, who are all out due to injury. The majority of the 33-man squad selected by Rassie Erasmus were involved in the 43-10 mauling of New Zealand, which was the biggest loss in the All Blacks Test history. As for Marazan Cup, she was named player of the match as South Africa women claimed an 8-wicket win over Pakistan in their first ODI. She recorded an unbeaten 121, while Tasman Brits was just as impressive with a score of 101.
Hey, look, I struggled that over just before my century, so I was a bit frustrated. But no, today was extremely tough. The conditions was not easy. When I was on about 20 runs, I thought, how am I going to do this? So it was just extremely tough out there today.
And the PGA Tour season opening Sentry tournament won't be played in Maui this January. That's due to ongoing drought conditions on the island. The tour didn't say where the tournament would take place, but only said details would be shared when available. Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's get out onto the roads and find out what's happening there. If you're in the Joburg CBD, heading somewhere besides the Joburg CBD, you are facing delays, it would seem.
Yeah, that's heading towards the Riverlea area. Bumper-to-bumper traffic in Selby, M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. In Marlborough, Alexandra area, heading towards Germiston, Bedfordview. Traffic heavily backed up. This is on the N3 southbound from the Butler Interchange all the way to London Road. Sandton, slow-moving traffic. That's leaving the Sandton area on Catherine Street between West and Greyston Drive, while in Protea Glen, traffic remains sluggish. N12 westbound. This is between the R554, Abu Bakr Drive, and the R558. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, there's just something I'm keen to know if this is affecting you before we get Tola Kele and her TV nostalgia. Very interesting piece in Business Day by Kabelo Kumalo about how, and I'll read the headline, SA firms scale up in Namibia as oil and gas light up economy. And it talks about how increasingly South African businesses connecting to those oil and gas opportunities. But, you know, upstream and downstream of that, there are all sorts of businesses that have a potential to flourish as well. So my question to you is this: if you're in business and you are seeing, are you seeing Namibia as a possible business opportunity? I think it's fascinating. We always talk about South Africa being the powerhouse, but lots of good news coming out of our neighbor to the north. So, yeah, give us a call on that if you're involved with the Namibian economy or seeing opportunities there. And if you're listening from Namibia, do you have a sense that your country's moving into some kind of better times, even if you can't call them boom times? I'd love to know. Read Kabelo's piece. Very interesting indeed. 16-4.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Tolakele TV shows that remind you of good times in your life. Anything that comes to mind for you?
There's quite a lot. Umfazi wephepha, emzini wezinsizwa. King, which one was the show? Lisilo.
Lisilo?
Lisilo,
I
yeah.
guess, yeah.
A lot of those, like, especially like the old SABC productions that were literally like mirroring what life was like in especially the townships. I used to love those shows. You discover just like a whole part of life. Mfukeng was very funny. It was for me, even when I think the SABC app still have like archives of those old shows, I still go back and watch. Going Up, Suburban Bliss as well. I loved it a lot. Madam and Eve for a long time as well. I also loved it.
So when we had Kabazela talking about Isidingo, he connected it to the show, of course, but also to just a time when his family were all together, spread out over 3 couches, and a really close moment at the end of the day, dinner behind them and so on. When you think of those shows, does it bring back that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. I think from 5 until 8:30, that was like normally like family time. Maybe you watched Days of Our Lives, then you went into The Bold and the Beautiful, then you went into Isidingo, then your parents had you watching the news, and then after that you went into Generations, and then they were like, okay, either do your homework or go to bed. That's the end of the day.
You know, when you talk of The Bold and the Beautiful and Days of Our Lives, I don't think I've watched 1 minute of those.
John.
I just haven't.
No way.
It's too late.
You missed out on like Stefano Demera coming back 17 times, Marlena being possessed by a demon.
Oh, no.
John Black. No, John, you missed out.
I missed out, but you wanted to say something?
You forgot is good, is good, is nice.
It's good, is nice.
Yeah, that was a
Was
classic.
that Joe Mafela?
Yeah.
Okay, so didn't get the Bold and the Beautiful, but got some of the South African stuff, TV shows that remind you of good times in your life. Give us a call on that on 011 883 0702.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Coming up after 4 o'clock, we'll be chatting to Oren Singh, and we'll probably talk to him again after 5 as well, because the pace, it seems to me, is really picking up in regard to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Earlier today, I don't know if anyone was watching, but very typical of the kind of start you get in court cases as well, actually, where there's a lot of stuff that's foundational. How do task teams work? Who sets them up? What rules? How are they funded? Before that, stuff about Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and his CV. But now, you just look up at a TV screen, which is what I'm doing, because obviously I can't listen to radio broadcasts, and there's a headline. Mkhwanazi says Mkhunu, referring to the police minister, because he still is Senzo Mkhunu. So Mkhwanazi says Mkhunu disbanded the political killings task team without once receiving a briefing on its work. So some flesh now on the bones, and one might say the skeletal bones that the general laid out in his press briefing in what, as I said earlier, seems like ages ago, but was back in August, I think. 12 minutes now to 4.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Well, let's focus our attention now on a rather different aspect of government. A very important briefing given to the Standing Committee on Public Accounts earlier today by the presidency, talking about what kind of action has been taken against companies and individuals involved in the theft, or certainly where there are strong allegations of the looting of public funds. To talk about this, we're joined now by Jonathan Tim, Director in the Presidency, who was involved in that briefing. Thanks very much for giving us your time on 702 Drive, Jonathan Tim. I wanted to ask you, this figure jumped out at me. As part of the briefing, it was revealed that the SIU and possibly others highlighted 467 individuals and companies who said that these entities should be added to the National Treasury's Restricted Suppliers Register. And the update that you gave was that out of those 467, only one has been subject to that sanction. Why is that the case?
Yes. Hello, John, and hello to the listeners. Thank you for this opportunity. It is indeed a statistic that warrants attention. So just to give some background to this, the SIU undertakes investigations on the basis of a proclamation issued by the president.
Right.
And in the course of the investigations uncovers various pieces of evidence that it then refers to the organs of state that have the mandate to act on that. So if there are criminal matters, then those are referred to the National Prosecuting Authority that handles those. If there are companies identified as having been involved in wrongdoing as suppliers to government, then these are referred to the accounting officers of the responsible departments or agencies. Those accounting officers then need to engage with the recommendations and and approach the companies and follow due process. If they are then satisfied, and they then make a recommendation to the National Treasury, which is responsible for maintaining the register of restricted suppliers. That process is convoluted. It has many twists and turns, as you can imagine. The responsibility lies with the accounting officer currently.
Yes.
If the accounting officer doesn't act, National Treasury does not have a lever to restrict a supplier. Now, this has been identified as one of the weaknesses in terms of the President's response to the recommendations of the State Capture Commission.
So can I jump in and say that was really a long time ago? That would have been identified as a weakness, 4 or 5 years ago? Why hasn't it been addressed? Because clearly it seems to me what you're telling us, Dr. Tim, is that the government departments have no interest in taking the necessary steps to safeguard public money, whatever they may say on public platforms, and that somebody should have stepped in, and surely that somebody was the president.
Well, John, we have 100 companies on the register currently restricted from doing business. So I just need to clarify that it's not that the sample that you're referring to, the 467, arise from the investigations
Yes.
of the SIU. So there are many other processes, and there are 100 companies on that register. But yes, the problem is not easily solved because it requires legislation. The president cannot restrict companies from doing business unless there is an order of court, a judgment. Accounting officers can recommend to the National Treasury if they are convinced that there's wrongdoing. But there's also the companies themselves can litigate against being restricted. The case in point is Bain and Company, which were restricted by SARS and the National Treasury. And Bain and Company has taken them to court on the legality of that in terms of the promotion of Administrative Justice Act.
I get that all this stuff is difficult, but the work of government is difficult, and the roots of corruption are deep. I mean, it should have been surely a national project to start ripping out these things root and branch if you possibly can. I mean, has any of the legislation, for example, that you say is required, Dr. Tim, to make the kind of difference that we need, has that even been drafted?
It has been enacted. So the Public Procurement Act, which was signed into law in July last year,
yes,
specifies conditions under which accounting officers must act. It specifies timeframes. It closes that discretionary loophole. National Treasury is, as we speak, finalizing regulations in terms of the Public Procurement Act that will give Treasury greater authority to intervene where accounting officers are not acting. So those are being released for public comment in October. We are also, in terms of the work that the presidency is leading together with the SIU, we are tracking, and this gives rise to the presentation yesterday, the report to SCOPA, tracking across all the organs of state the recommendations arising from the SIU report. So, we won't know, presidency cannot know what is happening in an individual department where an accounting officer is making an assessment or deciding not to apply for restricting a supplier.
If I could just,
SIU,
yeah. I mean, just to jump in there, because I get the detail and I get the detours, but the fundamental reality we're staring in the face, I would put to you, is that because the other thing you dealt with was disciplinary hearings and how long those take. Another issue that came up is employees are supposed to be vetted and some simply refuse and remain in their jobs. Would you accept that at this moment in time, neither companies with criminal intent nor officials intent on colluding with them for benefit to their pocket have anything really to fear? As we stand on the 17th of September, 2025, it's pretty fair to say that the coast is largely still very clear for them.
John, I think, we have seen 44 officials dismissed from government departments and municipalities, including heads of departments, municipal managers.
Have they been? Have any of them been prosecuted? I mean, if I had looted large amounts of money and I was dismissed, it's the cost of doing business. But if I'm going away to a life on a golf course or on a yacht, I don't think I'd mind.
Well, I mean, certainly, John, and your view is very much the view that's held, and I think justifiably, by the public. But, we are making some headway in this regard. We're seeing, the narrative out there is that nothing has happened with regard to the state capture recommendations.
Right.
And one can really appreciate why people feel that way. But the evidence is now beginning to point to a shift. We have, of the 218 recommendations that the Commission made for criminal investigations or criminal processes around asset recovery to law enforcement, the presidency referred all of those lock, stock, and barrel to the law enforcement agencies. We now have 28% of those recommendations in court or having been finalized. Now, I realize that the response to that is, so where are the prosecutions? Where's the jail time?
Yes.
Where is... Well,
so
we
fair
have
questions.
Yes. So, I mean, recently a director of Homix, which was one of the companies that was used in the money laundering, was sentenced to 10 years with a 5-year direct imprisonment. We had a state security agency official sentenced to 20 years. That was suspended on condition of full cooperation with law enforcement. We have recently major new case on the 30th of June, the Transnet locomotives contract coming to court. We have the Free State asbestos case. We have
which was butchered.
Well, no. There's yes. So the New Lane Company case, yes, which the NPA is going to put back onto the roll. But we have a number of other cases on the roll. We have, if I can just remind the listeners of the the high-profile cases that are currently in court. We have the Transnet transaction advisory contract. Yes, we have the Bosasa. We have two cases for Bosasa. We have the Estina case. That is going to be re-enrolled. We have.
I think we've got a clear picture. Thank you, Dr. Jonathan Tim, that many cases are coming to court. But let's hear from our listeners. Enough cases, quickly enough. The punishing of companies through blacklisting, the decisive action against people who are involved in corruption in high government positions or lower ones for that matter. Give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 072 702 1702.
Unlock exciting bonus prizes when you top up your Betway account with a Betway Bucks voucher. From millions in cash and bonuses to extra bets and so much more, every top up is a chance to score big. Head over to leading retailers, including Pick n Pay, Checkers, Pep Stores, and Incredible Connection, and top up with Betway today. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. South African Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
Let's count backward. 5. Insurance. 4. Pineapple. 3. Insurance. 2. Pineapple. 1. You're under. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
This is EWN.
Mkhwanazi testifies that KwaZulu-Natal's political task team has been instrumental in crucial arrests in Gauteng and Westbury residents' taps still dry. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Molapo. We begin in the capital where KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has told the Madlanga inquiry that the arrests of two suspected kingpins, Katiso Molefe and Vusmusi Ket Matlala, were made with the help of the province's political killings task team. Mkhwanazi is testifying on day one of the Madlanga inquiry probing interference in the criminal justice system. He's told the commission that members from the KwaZulu-Natal team formed what is now known as Gauteng Counterintelligence. Molefe and Matlala have been charged with separate crimes, including the murder of vereniging engineer Armand Swart and the kidnapping of Pretoria businessman Jerry Boshocha, who is still missing.
Commissioner, the member are still on the ground. The operation is still ongoing. The very same Gauteng counterintelligence operation is the one that led to the arrest of Mr. Molefe again. It's the one that led into the arrest of Mr. Matlala. It's a team that today, as we sit here, has been part of the opposing of the bail of Mr. Matlala, which was denied by court today.
The Public Service and Administration Department says it will be freezing the pension contributions of those found to be public sector ghost employees. The department has also called for a mandatory verification process of all state employees from entry-level interns to senior managers. The department briefed Parliament's Public Service and Administration Portfolio Committee today on its plans to eliminate ghost employees in the government payroll system. Babalo Ndenze has more.
The Portfolio Committee today heard how one provincial department had made overpayments of up to 6 million rand to suspected ghost employees who were either terminated or deceased. Public Service and Administration Deputy Director General Dr. Anusha Naidu told the committee that all departments must now apply immediate remedial action by freezing payments pending further investigation. She says illegally obtained pension benefits for ghost workers must also be recovered.
Ghosts have GEPF, Government Employee Pension Fund. So we'll have to even go there and take out those monies. So enforcement measures and consequence management that we must look at is we must remind departments.
National Treasury also told the committee that there's an urgent need to strengthen verification and onboarding through the creation of digital identities and biometrics for all state employees. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
In the west of Johannesburg, residents in Westbury still have little to no water a day before the deadline for full restoration of access. Joburg Mayor Dada Morero promised residents last Thursday that full supply would be restored in 7 days. This comes after months of water shortages which led to massive protests in the area. Westbury, Coronationville and surrounding areas are struggling due to aging infrastructure from the system that supplies its water. Westbury resident Saini van Sale filmed his home opening all taps in the house where there is still not a drop.
This is how we have to wash in the morning. We have a bucket next to the basin and we scoop water out of the bucket into the basin, and you have to do what they call a carboy wash. Currently in the tap, as you can see, there's no water coming through. It's open, nothing. Hot water, nothing. Cold water, nothing.
Parliament's Public Works Committee has resolved to report Minister Dean McPherson to the National Assembly Speaker over what it says is his continued absence at meetings set to discuss a forensic report into the George building collapse in which more than 30 people died. Last year's building collapse in George turned into a political hot potato in Parliament today as months of tensions boiled over when the committee refused to accept an apology letter from McPherson, who is attending a party political work, saying he had missed too many meetings and his excuses did not suffice. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Relations between Minister Dean McPherson and Parliament's Portfolio Committee have been frosty from the onset of this administration. In his latest letter to the committee, McPherson said he would complain to the House chairperson because previous requests for Wednesday meetings to be moved because they clash with cabinet commitments had been ignored. But the EFF's Sharon Letlape said the committee was tired of the excuses and McPherson's absences.
It's not an apology. It's disrespect. It's a middle finger towards this committee and towards this item.
Action SA's Malebo Kobe agreed.
Every single time the minister must come and account here, he's too busy. But he will fill a room with journalists and tell them the work he's supposed to tell us.
MPs later turned the matter into a political one, questioning why a DA minister was snubbing a meeting that involved a DA-run municipality. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa has secured an above-inflation multi-year agreement for workers at mining and metal companies South 32 Hillside Aluminium. The 5-year wage agreement, signed today, took effect at the beginning of the month and will hold until August 2030. This follows 1 month-long amicable talks between the union and South 32. And Dokozo Kumalo has more.
Wages for on-market technicians and artisans will increase by 6% for each year until 2028. For the 4th and 5th year, the wage increase will be 6% or CPI plus 0.5%, whichever is greater. Above-market artisans and operators will receive a 0.5% increase for each year of the first 3 years of the agreement. The final 2 years will be the same increase or CPI plus 0.5%, whichever is greater. NUMSA spokesperson Pagamile Hlubi Majola.
NUMSA wishes to thank its members, the negotiating team, union officials and shop stewards for their hard work in securing this agreement. Because of their efforts, NUMSA continues to improve the lives of workers and their families.
She says workers will also receive a once-off signing bonus of 20,000 rands. Ndozo Kumalo, Eyewitness News.
Gold's trading at $3,679.08 an ounce. The rand's at 17.35 to the dollar, at 23.70 to the pound, at 20.56 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $68.31 a barrel.
Centurion accident scene N1 North before the R21 flying saucer interchange, causing huge delays all the way from John Foster in Irene. Also slow-moving traffic approaching the intersection of Nelmapius Drive and Main Road. And if you're leaving Sandton, slow-moving traffic on Catherine Street between West and Grayston Drive.
In your sport, the Springboks keep faith with squad for Crunch Argentina Rugby Championship tests. Eric Tinkler keeping his feet on the ground after Skukune United thrash Kaizer Chiefs. And the PGA Tour season opening tournament forced to move due to Maui drought.
A look at your weather. Clear skies in store for Gauteng. Tomorrow, Joburg will drop to overnight lows of 10 degrees and peak at highs of 28. Pretoria is at 9 and 27. Vereeniging is at 4, also reaching highs of 27 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has told the Madlanga inquiry that the arrests of 2 suspected kingpins, Katiso Molefe and Vusmusi Ket Matlala, were made with the help of the province's political killings task team.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 9 minutes past 4. Good to have you with us on the show. The big story today, of course, is the Madlanga Commission. Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi going through his evidence, his testimony led by the evidence leader and questioned from time to time by the commissioner, the head of the commission, Justice Madlanga, and his 2 assistants as well. We'll get an update from Oren Singh. Everything off to a fairly quiet start earlier today, but it's getting busy and it's getting interesting, and some of it is fairly serious as he starts going into his justification for what he said in his press conference back in August. Also in this half hour, we will focus on one of the big international stories of the week. Critics of Israel's actions in Gaza welcoming a United Nations commission finding that these actions constitute genocide. Israel highly critical of those findings, but the wider question, what practical impact might this have when international condemnation to date seems to have had little effect on the trajectory of the conflict? Mark Latimer from the Ceasefire Centre for Civilian Rights on the line to us from London shortly. It's 10 minutes past 4.
7:02. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi John, this is Tolani from Speaking. Speaking of the shows that invoke good memories, I love Dallas, even though I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I just couldn't wait to see who shoots JR. Till today, I still don't know who shot JR. But in the kiddies section group, I love the Polka Dot Door. I think it used to play in 1987, but it's a show that originated in the 70s. And I used to watch it in 1987. I think I was in Standard 5. And the theme went like, a polka dot door, a polka dot door, see you soon, a polka dot door. Oh, used to love it. Thank you for a great show.
TV shows that take you back to good times in your life. Keep those coming, please, on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Of course, if you want to talk about the serious stuff, the Madlanga Commission, or any of the other big stories of the day, give us a call using those same numbers, 12 past 4.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So Oren Singh, our EWN colleague, will be giving us a full summary of the day a little bit later, but we thought let's just clock in because from what I can gather, Oren, good afternoon to you. From what I'm seeing on TV screens, the captions below and the bit I'm able to read online, we really are getting into the meat of Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's allegations of abuse within the police force. What's come up that has really stood out for you so far this afternoon? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. I think it's just a tip of the iceberg into what we're going to get into in the coming days. Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi basically rehashing much of what he made public on the 6th of July during that briefing, but going into a little bit more detail, John, in that of the Political Killings Task Team, looking at why the decision was made by Police Minister Senzo Mchunu to disband this Political Killings Task Team. He's of the belief that someone advised the minister to take the decision to disband this task team. And I think more importantly, he says that this came at a time when the task team were requested by the crime intelligence head Dumisani Khumalo to assist them in a murder case in Gauteng. This was the murder case of Vereniging engineer Armand Swart that took place last year. And because the two detectives in that case, they began receiving death threats, as well as the prosecution team, the senior public prosecutor in that matter, she wrote a letter to Mkhwanazi, the National Commissioner, and the Minister of Police, saying that we're receiving threats, and this is the extent of this criminal network that we're dealing with in this matter of Armand Swart. And that was the decision that was then taken by Dumisani Khumalo to request that a team from outside the province of Gauteng investigate and assist in investigations on that case. That's how the Political Killings Task Team got involved in unraveling the sort of rot that is alleged to be in the province of Gauteng.
So, Oren, just connect Armand Swart back to some of the other issues that have come up in the wake of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, General Mkhwanazi's allegations made back in July. My understanding is some of the triggermen involved in killing Armand Swart, and that in turn connected to some dodgy contracts, also involved in other murders, as I understand it, and some big names.
Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi saying that they've been involved in numerous assassinations. Three men were arrested for the murder of Armand Swart. One was subsequently released on bail. And after that man was released on bail, the investigators started receiving death threats and even, he says, to some extent, physical threats on their lives. So Armand Swart was an engineer. He worked for a company called Q-Tech. And his company was contracted to Transnet. And his company had filed a whistleblower report to Transnet involving a multi-million rand corruption. And Armand Swart, unfortunately, was caught in the crossfire of this. He wasn't, as we understand, the person they were meant to have taken out, but he was killed, and that's what started all of this. The names of Katie Molefe have come up, who's since been arrested in connection with all of this, and so has Vusi Kat Madlanga. These are two big names that we've seen recently arrested that are playing into some of the work that the Political Killings Task Team has been able to uncover in Gauteng.
Oren Singh, thank you. Oren, back with us a little bit later. We've still got another 45 minutes of testimony to go. We'll wrap the day after 5. It's 16 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic Report is brought to you by South African Airways. From 4 November, fly South African Airways from Johannesburg to Gaborone twice daily. Book now at flysaa.com. Delays in Centurion. Karabo Chale has the details.
Yes, John, there's an accident seen in the Centurion area, N1 northbound before the R21 flying saucer interchange, causing huge delays from John Foster. Still in Tshwane, Irene, expect some delays approaching the intersection of Nelmapius Drive and Main Road, and in Sandton, slow-moving traffic on Catherine Street between West and Grayston Drive. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
South African Airways is making it easier to travel this season with more flights to Lagos, Accra, and Sao Paulo. Enjoy more choice, more convenience, and the warm African hospitality you know from SAA. Book now at flysaa.com.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Lifestyle diseases like diabetes, right? Like high blood pressure
are increasingly more common even in our children. Our heart disease burden is growing. Could we even call it a crisis?
No, I think we can call it a pandemic or a tsunami. Cardiovascular disease is the biggest killer in the world, and it kills approximately 215, 230 people every single day in this country.
Dr. David Yankelo.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
For over a decade, Aluma Capital has had one simple mission: to help you secure the financial future you deserve. Over the past 10 years, they've empowered thousands of clients with personalized strategies, expert advice, and impressive returns of up to 13.2%. Whether it's growing wealth, securing retirement, or planning for the unexpected, Aluma Capital is there every step of the way. Visit aluma.co.za today. Aluma Capital is a licensed FSP. T's and C's apply.
Experience extraordinary with the new iPhone 17 from Vodacom, Zanzi's winning 5G network. More delightful, more durable, with a 6.3-inch ProMotion display, center stage front camera, and a ceramic shield that's 2 times more scratch resistant. Be among the first to get the all-new iPhone 17 plus a free extended warranty. Pre-order yours today. Available in-store and online. T's and C's apply. Further together. Vodacom.
So you thought you were building a business? In this economy? Good luck. But day by day, somehow it grew. You became payroll, procurement, PR, and pressure valve. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. What's that saying again? What doesn't kill your business makes it stronger? Or at least it should be that. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore. It's who you are, and you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
19 minutes past 4. This is National Wills Week, 10 to 5. We'll get advice on your will from our regular correspondent in our Minding Your Money feature, Paul Rulofse, joining us later in the show. But right now, let's focus our attention on one of the big international stories of the week. A United Nations Commission of Inquiry says Israel has committed genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. This commission, appointed by the UN, this is not yet a formal UN position. But the report says there are reasonable grounds to conclude that 4 of the 5 genocidal acts defined under international law have been carried out since the start of the war with Hamas in 2023. Israel's foreign ministry, for its part, says it rejected the report, denouncing it as distorted and false, and has described the 3 commissioners led by South African Judge Navi Pillay as Hamas proxies. Mark Latimer is Executive Director at the Ceasefire Centre for Civilian Rights in London. They look at this conflict and many others around the world, and he joins us now on 702 Drive. Mr. Latimer, welcome, and thanks very much for your time. Those who share the views of the Commission will doubtless welcome its findings, but in terms of international opinion and pressure as a vehicle for changing the trajectory of this conflict, will this move the needle in any way at all?
Well, hi, John. I think the report of the Commission is very welcome because it does increase pressure on the international community to do something about the appalling situation in Gaza. But to get to the nub of your question, is a finding of genocide by the Commission going to change everything? And the answer to that is no, it's not. In fact, most of what the international community could do from a legal point of view in regard to the crime of genocide has already happened. The International Court of Justice has imposed provisional measures on Israel, requiring it to ensure unopposed humanitarian access. It has already confirmed, the court has already confirmed that the occupation is illegal and that Israel should withdraw and furthermore pay reparations to Palestinians. So what else could be done? Well, the Security Council could take action, but of course it's not going to because there is a US veto. And therein is the problem. there are only really two countries which can change the current situation: Israel itself and the United States. And neither of those two are going to accept a finding of genocide.
Is one of the difficulties with multilateral bodies and bodies like the ICJ in general that the United States has never welcomed them, never participated in them, and in certain conflicts, I think it would be different in regard to Ukraine and Russia, but if you single them out as having this much leverage in the conflicts in Gaza and in Israel, that as long as the US takes this position, it's quite hard for anyone else to do anything? Or is that underestimating what collective pressure might achieve?
Well, it's not quite correct to say that the US doesn't participate. It hasn't given the ICJ an open jurisdiction over all things American, but it does participate where it is challenged under existing treaties by other states. So we have seen the US brought to the International Court of Justice, and we've seen it defend itself very vigorously. So it does participate, and it has participated in many UN bodies, although most recently it has pulled out of the UN Human Rights Council. But the US can't have it both ways. It can't, on the one hand, say that it is for the international rule of law, criticize the other states around the world for not following international law, and then itself ignore it. And when it comes to the terrible situation in Gaza, increasingly it is finding itself in a situation of almost complete international isolation. Certainly with regard to the charge of famine occurring in Gaza and the totally unacceptable death toll amongst civilians.
In terms then of what the UN might do next, because this is a commission created by the United Nations, but its findings are not officially those of the UN. You said this could go to the Security Council. Does it have any life beyond that?
Well, I'm not quite sure about your characterization of saying it's not officially by the UN. I mean, it's not a determination by the International Court of Justice.
Right.
The finding doesn't have the force of law, nor does it have the force of being the authoritative opinion of the world's leading of the World Court. But it is a UN finding, and that is hugely important. But I think one has to start to question whether or not we are going to get any more pressure out of these claims and these findings of genocide. The fact remains is that neither Israel nor the United States, as the only two countries who can change this, they're never going to accept a finding of genocide. But that isn't the same for recognizing that it is unacceptable what is happening. If we actually look at the facts of conduct on the ground. Indeed, if we only look at what Israel itself says it is doing in Gaza, we can conclude that the situation is unacceptable. Israel itself said that up to the end, is using figures that up to the end of May this year, it had killed 44,000 civilians. The Israeli president, the prime minister, defense ministers have said that they are imposing total siege on Gaza. No water, no electricity, no food. The prime minister has said that civilians should leave Gaza City and move en masse to the south. He has said that there cannot be a Palestinian state. He has said that the Palestinians should leave Gaza en masse. All of these things are a matter of record. Those are the facts. And on the basis of that alone, the situation is completely unacceptable. And I think it is possible for more and more people in the US, including the US administration, to start realizing that those are the facts. And many of those facts are already recognized by the US, and therefore that they have to change their policy and they have to do more than what they are currently doing.
Mark Latimer, thank you, joining us from London. He is Executive Director of the Ceasefire Centre for Civilian Rights. It's 27 minutes past 4 o'clock.
EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. N1 North in Centurion, we should avoid it.
Yeah, please avoid at all costs. There's that accident scene in the Centurion area, N1 North, before the R21 flying saucer interchange, now causing more than a 20-minute delay all the way from John Foster. Still in Tshwane, Irene expects some delays approaching the intersection of Newsmakers Drive and Main Road. In Diepsloot, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on the N14 westbound between Winnie Mandela Drive, that's the R511, and the R114. It's not clear what's causing this delay, so if you are on that route, please let me know. WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic. Also in Sandton, leaving the area, slow-moving traffic on Catherine Street between West and Greyston Drive. If you come across any other traffic issues, you can also SMS us on 31702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
20 years ago, you were driving to the shops to get your first MP3 player, and 20 years ago, the Outsurance pointsmen were on the roads, easing traffic congestion. Whether you're an Outsurance client or not, we've all been getting something out. Show the Outsurance pointsmen some love this month and celebrate this 20th anniversary using #pointsmenlove. From Johannesburg, Tshwane and Paarl to Stellenbosch, let's celebrate. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
EWN Business.
Muteo Khwaripe, a very good afternoon to you. How are the markets?
Oh, we start here. John Stetz says the measured price rate of goods and services came in lower in August. Consumer prices rose an annual 3.3% last month, down from the 3.5% measured in July. The lower food prices contributed to the decrease in headline inflation. Lower fuel prices also helped ease the overall inflation rate. The CPI decreased by 0.1% month on month in August of 2025. This data print comes a day before the Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee's interest rate decision. It's given renewed hope that the SARB may decide to shave interest rates by at least 25 basis points. In the US, the US Fed is also said to release interest rates later this evening. The market's opening quite mixed this afternoon. The Dow Jones Industrial up more than 0.5%, a bit more buoyant, but the S&P 500 is in some weakness, while the Nasdaq, that trades mostly tech shares, is down 0.5%. JSE ahead of market close, looking quite healthy, up 461 points, pushed up by industrials, up more than 1%. Banking stocks also in some gains. Premier Foods up 6.5%, Woolies up 4.8%, with Prosus and Naspers, the JSE darlings, up more than 2%. Rand at this hour, 17 Rand 34 against the US dollar, 20 Rand 54 cents against the euro, and 23 Rand 70 cents against the British pound. Price of gold is weaker at $3,681 an ounce, while platinum is at $1,372. Brent crude at $68.40 a barrel. More business in about an hour.
Thanks, Muteo. Back with us in about less than an hour, I think. We can look forward to that. He'll also tell us what he's going to do on the Money Show tonight between 6 and 8. Right now it's 29 minutes to 5. More from the Madlanga inquiry and plenty more besides. Here is Maki Mulapo.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. It's emerged that suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner for Crime Detection, Shadrack Sibiya, recommended the approval of a submission last year for the Political Killings Task Team to continue with its work into 2025. The revelation comes from KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi as he testifies before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry probing interference within crime intelligence in the country. Sibiya was suspended by National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola on Friday for allegedly undermining the work of the task team. Mkhwanazi says the task team had received approval for funding until 2026.
Deputy National Commissioner Lieutenant General Sibiya, he recommended continuing deployment of this team and the funding thereof, as well as the approval, recommendation for the approval of Lieutenant General Kumalo to be a project manager for this team for the period 2024 to 2025.
For live updates on the Commission, visit ewn.co.za or watch live proceedings on our YouTube channel. Alleged Usindiso building arsonist Stembiso Mdlalose says he was waiting for the right time to reveal that his confession about starting the deadly blaze was false. Mdlalose had initially admitted to igniting the August 2023 fire that killed 76 people, but now insists his confession was a lie. He's told the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court that he fabricated the confession because he was homeless and believed prison would provide him with shelter. Under cross-examination today, Mdlalose said he doesn't want to remain in custody for a confession he claims was false.
I wanted to find the right way to put this method into the table. Because remember, there were a lot of questions. I mean, even in the case, a lot of people were just confused about the whole thing. Probably so, but I wanted the right timing, the right place to tell. Because now, so I just wanted the right way, the right words to use.
Western Capability MEC Isaac Seleku says warring taxi associations in Cape Town must focus on peace talks rather than taking government to court over taxi route closures. The Mobility Department has implemented a 30-day shutdown of taxi routes along the Mfuleni and Khayelitsha to Somerset West corridors starting today. These measures are aimed at preventing the taxi-related killings that have claimed the lives of at least 10 people in recent weeks. Ntutuzelo Nene has more.
Taxi organization Codeta is unhappy with the Mobility Department's decision to close the taxi routes and has approached the court to stop the route shutdowns. Mobility MEC Isaac Seleku says while it's the association's right to go the legal route, the decision to do so is misplaced.
We are in a democratic country, so any person has a right to approach the courts. But I would suggest that they actually put more effort in trying to resolve this instead of approaching the courts.
7 minibus taxis have been impounded for illegally operating on the closed routes. Ntutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News in Cape Town.
And the Independent Electoral Commission in KwaZulu-Natal says the Ward 64 by-election in eThekwini will proceed in spite of commotion between political parties this morning. The ward is one of the biggest in the KwaZulu-Natal metro with over 21,000 registered voters. The recent resignation of a DA councillor left a vacant seat in the council. IEC KwaZulu-Natal Electoral Officer Dumfuti Masinga says voting is now underway at 8 voting stations.
There was a bit of a commotion in Montclair Recreational Hall, with the noise in the tables and tents outside of the voting stations that are manned by political parties getting a bit rowdy, but that was managed by the SAPS working hand in hand with the Metro Police, and order has been reinstated.
Masinga has added that law enforcement will be monitoring the situation.
The police are going to be observing the by-election until the end.
A look at your weather. Clear skies in store for Gauteng today, with temperatures peaking at highs between 25 and 29 degrees.
Centurion accident scene N1 North before the R21 flying saucer interchange, causing more than a 20-minute delay from John Foster Diepsloot heading towards Rudaport Krugerstop. There's about a 20-minute delay as well. N14 westbound between the R511 Winnie Mandela Drive and the R114.
The top story in Eyewitness News, it's emerged that suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner for Crime Detection, Shadrack Sibiya, recommended the approval of a submission last year for the Political Killings Task Team to continue with its work into 2025.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Gwede Mantashe, the chairperson of the ANC, coming out to say, you all sing very, very nicely, but you have no capacity. And then President Cyril Ramaphosa says it's clear that the municipalities that seem to be doing well happen to be DA run. And I'm paraphrasing. But if you are not going to take this admonishment from your president and your chairman, who said there's a lot of capacity, you listen, lekker man. Next, capacity, nix. Because you sing so well.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Tomorrow, the Gauteng Department of Environment, in partnership with the city of Tshwane, marks the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies at the JNF Walter Sisulu Environmental Centre in Mamelodi. Under the theme Racing for Air, the day aims to raise awareness on air quality issues while inspiring sustainable action for a healthier Gauteng. Clean air means healthier lives and brighter skies. Brought to you by Gauteng Department of Environment. Growing Gauteng together.
You've reached in his Renault Duster en route to Dullstrom. This journey is taking to try a sport far more boring than its name might suggest. Fly. Fishing. He'll be in his Renault Duster, which he bought with 40,000 Rand trade-in assistance.
Leave it all behind in the new Renault Duster. With 40,000 Rand trade-in assistance. Offer exclusive to Renault Financial Services. Product of APSA. T's and C's apply.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John, there is no will to bring any of these corrupt companies and their enablers to book, because the corruption starts from the very top, and their families will be disadvantaged by this. If it was any other thing, if there was a will, something would have been done. Just think about it. Who gets disadvantaged for corruption? No one. So to me, it's very disheartening, but not surprising at all. This country's a joke.
For the sake of the other, the gentleman who wanted to know who shot JR. JR was shot by Pam's sister, Bobby's sister-in-law. I forget her name, but she's the one that shot JR the first time when everybody really needed to know. And then the second time, because JR was shot, I think, twice. The second time, I can't remember, Swellan maybe, I think, had a go at him. And that's Dallas. We all loved it. John, Cyprian, thanks. Bye-bye.
Question we asked a little bit earlier. TV shows that take you back to good times in your life and memories perhaps of time spent watching things with friends and family. Lesego says, going nowhere slowly on a Sunday afternoon was brilliant as well. And Kanyezi wants to talk about the failure to act against corruption in government and says, on the NPA and its unending roll of cases, why doesn't government just shut down the tender system and hire people to do what the service providers normally would? I work in government and I've seen that the financial muscle is there. In fact, it might even be cheaper to hire the people instead of the businesses. View from Nkanyezi, maybe you've got a comment on that. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. 20 minutes to 5.
EWN Sport.
More Betway Premiership games tonight. Tolakele looking ahead. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. And Mamelodi Sundowns will look to return to the summit of the Betway Premiership this evening with a win over Marumo Gallants. That game is one of 4 scheduled tonight. And ahead of it, Miguel Cardoso has discussed the recent signing of Katlego Ntsabeleng, who joined on loan from FC Dallas.
A midfielder with high offensive-minded midfielder. He can play in different positions in this team. He can be one of the double pivots. He can be a number 10. He can play on the pockets, so an inside, a winger playing inside, not on the lines for sure. So a player that can play with a lot of versatility, mostly on the right, in the center and lower. It's a player with a high intensity, but it's a player that we are developing.
As for Kaizer Chiefs, they've yet to comment on multiple reports that they've parted ways with coach Nasruddin Nabi. SABC Sports says the decision comes amid uncertainty around his CAF qualifications, meaning he wouldn't be able to sit on the bench for any of their inter-club competitions this season, while Itiski Times claims that Nabi is leaving to go back to Tunisia. That's to be with his wife following her car accident earlier in the campaign. Over to the UEFA Champions League, where Bayern Munich versus Chelsea headlines the pick of match day 1 games tonight. The Blues are back in the tournament for the first first time since the 2022-23 season. And captain Reece James has reflected on the changes in the team since they last won the trophy in 2022.
It's obviously difficult, the club's had lots of change. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad thing, if you look at last season, we qualified for this competition and we, went on to achieve 2 trophies. So I'll definitely say, with all the change, we started probably slow, but last season, I think we come on leaps and bounds.
The Springbok women have arrived back home following their historic World Cup campaign, which ended in the quarterfinals. Coach Swayze de Bruin was full of praise for his team's efforts, especially going toe-to-toe against world champions New Zealand.
It was like a roller coaster that never came down. It went up and up and up. It was just one of those, and one thing would happen, and then the team got inspired and they want to do more. And the belief grown. And once there's belief, anything can happen. And that you should have seen these faces half-time against the untouchable Fern side, that 6-time world champs, and we're off. It's 10-all.
And Michael Bracewell will captain a depleted New Zealand side in the upcoming T20 series against Australia. That's with regular skipper Mitchell Satner and several senior players ruled out through injury. The Black Caps go into the games aiming to reclaim the Chappell-Haddle Trophy for the first time since 2016, while the series also marks 20 years since the first ever men's T20 and will be played entirely at the Bay Oval. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
17 minutes to 5. This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Cars.coza. Let's find what moves you. Problems moving south now. Not south. Diepsloot. I was going to say Diepkloof. Northwest. Okay. Diepsloot, what's up?
Yeah, Diepsloot, strange delays there. Very unusual delays at this time. About a 20-minute delay on the N14 westbound between the R511 and the R114. Not clear what's causing this delay. So if you're on that route, please let me know. You can WhatsApp me on 072-702-1702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic. In the Marlborough Alexandra area heading towards Germiston, traffic remains heavily backed up. N3 southbound from the Bethlehem interchange all the way to Van Buren. Edenvale bumper-to-bumper traffic on the R24 westbound from Edenvale Road to the Gilulis interchange. Santon leaving the area, there's slow-moving traffic on Catherine Street between West and Greyston Drive, while in Parktown heading towards Boysons, traffic pressure M1 south between Killarney Benz and the Crown interchange. N20 Centurion. We still have that accident scene on the N1 northbound before the R21 Flying Saucer interchange, causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from John Foster. I'll have your next Eyewitness News traffic update just after 5.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
8 out of 10 radio listeners suffer from CAR, or car advertising on repeat. Symptoms include fatigue, anxiety, and confusion. With so many car ads coming at you on your daily commute, buying or selling a car can feel overwhelming. But there is a cure.
Cars.coza. Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the and just go to Cars.coza and let's find what moves you. Cars.coza.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Couple more TV shows that people are remembering very, very fondly. Lesego, Louis Motors reminds me of a long, long time ago in the olden days, as my children say. I haven't heard it called that. The olden days. Not yet ready for that, hey, Karabo, to refer to anything in your past as the olden days. We mentioned going nowhere slowly. Here's a couple more. Let's find them. Josie Tsile says, Mr. Belvedere was the show for me. Second on my list, Who's the Boss? With Tony Danza. Wonderful memories. 14 minutes to 5.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Well, seeing as we're going back into the olden days, by the way, we're going to be looking at wills in a moment with Paul Rulofsa on Minding Your Money. But before that, in the olden days, Karabo, you asked about pen pals.
Yes.
What prompted that? Did you have one?
Yes, I had a couple actually.
Okay.
So what prompted it was we drive past a post office frequently in my neighborhood, and my son once asked, "What really happens in there?" And I'm like, fair enough.
Okay.
I'm
Fair
sure
question.
it's like you send letters. It's like
Whole parliamentary committees ask that question, and
it's like, what
don't
are you
always
talking
get
about?
answers. Yeah.
So yeah, I had one. I was like, yeah, you send letters, and I explained I used to have a pen pal, and it's like, what the hell is that? And then I had to explain further. So I had a couple of pen pals. One that stands out. Her name was Refeng. So we, growing up, I think it was in primary or junior high school, they used to give us like magazines, teen zones, and those, and there'll be a classified where you can advertise if you want a pen pal and stuff like that. So that's where I picked it up, and we started sending each other letters. It was exciting. We eventually started calling each other on the landlines.
Yes.
And then one day
Where did Refeng live?
I think it was somewhere in Alex, and I lived in Germiston.
Oh, okay.
So it was not that far, but hey, we're kids.
Yes.
So one day I call, and the dad answers, and I hung up quickly, and then the dad called back, and then I answered, and I heard it was him, and I hung up again, and I was scared. And then he was consistent, and my mother's like, who's calling all this time? And she answered, and then he was like, ma'am, put your son on a leash.
Oh, really?
You must stay away from my daughter. And unfortunately, that's where the relationship kind of ended. But then my mother found it very funny every time she just talks about Refeng. She was like, oh, Refeng makoti waka, you know? And
Yes.
so I was.
And you never met?
No, yes, of course we did meet. We did meet before the whole relationship ended. We met for movies at Eastgate Mall, and it was fun. And the relationship ended, but guess what? Years later, in our adult life, we bumped into each other. So we're like, wow, that's cool. So we had like this family lunch together. Her family came over, and it was just interesting to catch up.
And did you say to the dad, can I get you another drink? I mean,
well, no, I didn't meet the dad. I mean, her family.
Oh, I see.
Her family and my family.
Okay.
We kind of like, hey, why not?
And with the dad, I guess it was a bit too late. On your leash. Wow, put your son on a leash. That's a phrase. Tola Keller, did you ever have a pen pal? And a second question to go with it. Are there like modern day equivalents? I mean, obviously not handwritten letters dependent on the post office to deliver and receive, but what are the modern... I mean, do people have relationships with relatives, strangers over huge distances via email or whatever?
I think right now the modern equivalent is probably sliding into someone's DMs.
Yes.
Even because I'm from a different generation, because you don't like to say olden days, John.
I don't mind. I'm cool.
I'm from the Tumblr generation. It was like the first social media app. So I used to have a lot of people. Our main interest was football. So we ended up starting like a little group on Tumblr. Then it ended up moving to WhatsApp. And to this day, we still send each other happy birthdays. We're still checking in each other. It started with the 2006 World Cup. That's the first time we ever started communicating. And years later, we still do. I think because I wasn't sure that our post office would deliver the lecter. Because some of them, one is in the UK, another one is in Italy, another one in Mexico. I wasn't sure how long it would take to get there. So that was the best way for us to keep in communication with one another.
Okay, so communication with strangers who become less of strangers over time, from pen pals via Tumblr to sliding into DMs. What have your stories been? I mean, have you ever engaged with complete strangers, communicated, whether, as I say, it was in the old days, pen and paper, or now? And what came out of that? Give me a call, 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 10 to 5.
John Perlman
On 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Okay, minding your money. We do it every Wednesday. This is National Wills Week, a big focus on making sure that you actually have a will and that it's valid and that it actually meets what it is that you hope that will achieves, because the drafting is crucial. Let's get some insight then and some wise advice, I'm sure, from our regular guest, certified financial planner, Paul Rulofs. So good afternoon to you. It's not just having a will, I would think, but it's also making sure that it really does, as precisely as possible, set out what it is that you want to do once you pass away. How complicated can that get? Because, in some of my various drafts, I've had advice saying, well, actually what you think will happen as a result of this may not happen in the way you think.
Well, that's true, John. Hi. Certainly, it's a very crucial part of your financial planning.
Right.
It's where everything that you've done for your whole life comes to a point where you would like to disperse to certain beneficiaries the way you would like it. And unfortunately, we don't spend too much time thinking about it. It's a hard thing to think about, because how the outcome will eventually be is going to be the question. And I think keeping a will, first and foremost, I think one shouldn't get into the habit of ruling from the grave and making it too complicated.
Yes.
One should actually maybe look at simplifying it and stop ruling from the grave. Keep it simple. And there are a lot of techniques to make sure that we don't start bringing in complications, because as soon as there's too much in the will, it becomes a complicated thing. John, I just might share with our listeners, I've just wound up a will, which was a fairly straightforward one, by the way.
Right.
Which involved a few companies and things too, which are all well, dressed up for the estate. But it took 4 years, John. It took 4 years.
And was
and
that
the delay? Sorry.
No, please carry on.
No, as I said, the delay starts with the process, because just to get into the master's office, it took about 3 or 4 months. So there was a big backlog at the time, and to work with the process as well as the complications of a will, it can take a long time before the estate is actually wound up.
I mean, Paul, you say don't try and rule from the grave, and I get that point. I probably had a few sections of mine that would fall into that category. But at the same time, the trauma of loss can be made so much worse if wills are not at least very clear on some of the critical things. I mean, what's the sweet spot? Because if you leave ambiguity and families, again, in the trauma of grief, but also with fault lines, because they often have those, it can get very, very messy and very, very, very painful.
It can. And the sort of techniques that you want to lean towards, John, are more like leave percentages, don't leave actual rand amounts.
Right.
Because if those rand amounts are not available at the time that the estate is being wound up, it causes complications with the executor. So percentages work very well. And here's another thing too, just with the other personal goods and things, you may want to just draw aside or set aside a letter of wishes, which you may want to then extend to the executor, who you would say that, my personal jewelry, this will go to her and he will go get this. And you actually allocate specifics like that, but on a letter of wishes, so that the executor at least knows something about how you would like to distribute. And if there's any contestation in the will, well, at least he's got something to sort of lean onto. But here's the other thing too, just make sure that will is valid, John.
Yes.
Having a will is one thing, but there are a couple of very key things that must make sure that will does land properly. One of them is it's got to be signed correctly. And you can't sign a will with witnesses that have a personal involvement in the estate. So they have to be very independent. They mustn't have any interest in the estate. And make sure that those witnesses sign when you sign. You can't just sort of sign it off and then take it down on the weekend, over the next bride and say, yeah, guys, just sign off this will. It's got to be actually witnessed that you signed it at the time date that you recorded on the will. Very crucial. Otherwise, it becomes a document of dispute. And let me tell you, where there's a will, there's a relative. And that's the other side of things. As soon as there is spoils in the will, it opens up to sort of contestations, which can be avoided if you really look after it the correct way.
And Paul, just finally, some important advice you shared with us earlier about provisions for minors. Some potential potholes there, as I understand it.
Be so careful. Minors cannot contract, John. So you would have to have a nominated guardian in your will, especially if you want your children who are minors to inherit. They would have to have some kind of entity like a testamentary trust on which you have a guardian that's going to look after their interests and theirs only. So pay close attention to that. The testamentary trust is created on your death. The beneficiaries, if they are minors, are part of that trust, in the sense of they will get the proceeds. But you need to be very careful that you've got a very good guardian that really cares for them, who will make representation to that trust so that they get the benefits that they deserve and you want them to have.
Thanks very much. Some very sound advice there in regard to wills. This is National Wills Week. Maybe you've got some advice to add to what we just heard from Paul Rulofse, a certified financial planner, our regular guest on Minding Your Money. It's 3 minutes to 5.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
We're joined by Salem Nyati, a consumer financial education specialist. Please explain to us what a garnishee order is.
It's when the court is ordered to deduct the debt that you owe from your salary without your voluntary compliance. Let's say, for example, your take-home is supposed to be 22,000 rands per month. We've seen people go home with 450 rands because there's like 10 or 12 garnishee orders. Now an employer, yes.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Ready to lead and make our world a better place, Regenesis School of Education proudly launches its revolutionary Bachelor of Education program. They don't just develop teachers, they develop conscious leaders equipped with IQ, STEM, AI, and emotional intelligence. Study in the heart of Sandton or online worldwide with a world-class faculty trusted by over 1,000 corporations and 500,000 alumni from 150 countries. Enroll now at regenesis.net/education. Regenesis School of Education, awakening potential.
This is Jade. She'll spend hours comparing almond milk and once made a spreadsheet just for sneakers. But when she found Santam, ASA's leading short-term insurer that offers a range of cover options, from vehicle to building and home contents, even she didn't overthink it. The kind of freedom Santam gives you takes some getting used to. Speak to your broker. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and controlling company for its group companies.
The Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra presents its Symphonic Jazz Festival. Enjoy iconic South African jazz with full orchestra, big band and rhythm section led by Marcus Wyatt. Featuring a stellar lineup of artists. Linda Auditorium on 24 September, 7:30 p.m. Tickets at Quicket.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive. So I'd love to get your feedback. If you have been watching any part of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, give us a call and tell us what you heard, what you saw, and what impressions you've had. Anyone watching the World Athletics Championships on at a bit of an awkward time, the finals, the evening session where you have event finals, kind of on, I think, between 11 and 3, but Zakiti Nene is through to the final of the 400 meters, and we're watching how he progresses with a huge amount of interest. That, I think, is on Friday night. I'll double check and update you on that. But anything you want to chat about, 072 702 1702, it's 5 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Mkhwanazi sticks to his guns on allegations of interference in the police ministry, and beef prices still alarmingly high despite cooler inflation. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Molapo. We begin in the capital, where KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi believes the decision taken to disband the political killings task team is suspicious. Mkhwanazi has been testifying at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this afternoon and told evidence leaders that he strongly believes someone advised Police Minister Senzo Mchunu to disband the political killings task team. He says the decision followed work that the task team was carrying out in Gauteng, assisting organized crime in a murder case on request by crime intelligence boss Dumsani Khumalo. Mkhwanazi has concluded his testimony for the day and will resume tomorrow. Oren Singh joins us live now from the Bridget Mapandla Justice College. Oren, what fueled Mkhwanazi's claims to label Senzo Mchunu's decision to disband the political killings task team as suspicious?
Well, Maki, Mkhwanazi says he has evidence which may need to be dealt with in camera that supports his allegations that Police Minister Senzo Mchunu was influenced in his decision by associates who are part of a criminal syndicate to disband the political killings task team. He says The Political Killings Task Team is one of many task teams in the country, and for Mkhunu to simply isolate them and classify their work as having no value is suspicious to him.
In his own words, I think it will be in the record of Parliament, where the minister said he had an engagement with the president about this decision that he has taken. So that's why he stands by his decision, which then is strange because the National Commission has never received anything to counter that.
Marky, what further fuels Mkhunazi's suspicions is that just days before this letter to disband the task team was issued on the 31st of December, he was with Senzo Mkhunu in KZN, and at no stage did the conversation of the task team come up. For Eyewitness News, I'm Arun Singh reporting live from Pretoria.
Meanwhile, in Parliament, Acting Police Minister Firoz Kachalia says he hasn't had a reason to replace any of the suspended Minister Senzo Mkhunu's staff after taking over the ministry. But Kachalia says he's in the process of appointing Gareth Newham from the Institute for Security Studies to be his special advisor and to fill a key vacancy. Kachalia was responding to oral questions in the National Assembly as part of the Peace and Security Cluster today. Babalo Ndenza has more.
Professor Firoz Kachalia was sworn in as the Minister of Police on the 1st of August this year. His appointment came after President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to place Senzo Mkhunu on special leave following allegations that he interfered with police operations. Responding to questions from members, Kachalia says he hasn't replaced any officials, even those who worked closely with Mkhunu.
I have not replaced the existing staff in my office. They are all currently in position. And secondly, that I've only taken steps to appoint one special advisor because there was a vacancy in that position, and I'm entitled to do so in terms of the ministerial handbook.
Kachalia says he appointed Gareth Newham as his special advisor because he's one of the most prominent experts and policy analysts in safety and security. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, in the courts, the NPA has welcomed today's magistrate's court ruling denying alleged crime boss Vusi Ket Madlanga bail. Madlanga, who's facing attempted murder charges for an alleged hit on his socialite girlfriend, Debo Khotobejane, appeared in the court in Alexandra today. The court ruled that evidence presented by the state shows he has the potential to evade trial. Magistrate Sita Prinsloo highlighted the discrepancies in Madlanga's Home Affairs records and his alleged possession of an Eswatini ID. The NPA's Pindim Janondwana has applauded police and prosecutors for their work.
We welcome the judgment as the NPA. It is one that proves that the collaborative efforts of the criminal justice system are bearing fruits. We have provided an avalanche of evidence to substantiate our claim.
Staying in the courts, a state witness in the Palapara burglary trial could find himself in hot water after testifying in court the alleged robbers paid him 7,000 rand when records show the amount is closer to R500,000. The witness, who cannot be named, testified in court today that he drove the accused number 1, Emanuela David, and 2 of his friends from Limpopo to Gauteng a day after they robbed the farm. David, along with siblings Froliana and Ndilina Joseph, are accused of breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm and stealing $580,000 in cash. Today was day 2 of the trial at the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo, and Thabiso Goba was there.
The driver testified today after driving Emanuela David and his 2 friends to a car dealership in Johannesburg. They paid him 7,000 rand. However, the state says there are discrepancies between his testimony today in court and the police statement he gave earlier. One, the state's prosecutor says the car dealership was in Benoni and not Johannesburg. 2, in his statement, the driver says he was paid $30,000 in cash, not 7,000 rand. Speaking through an interpreter, the driver says he acknowledges there are inconsistencies between his oral and written statements.
I will say that I agree, and on the other hand say that I dispute what you are saying, because when the statement was made, I was afraid.
State Prosecutor Nketheni Munyai has invoked Section 189 of the Criminal Procedure Act, which can potentially see the driver sanctioned either with a fine or imprisonment. Thabiso Goba, Eyewitness News, Limpopo.
And Stats SA says beef prices continue to stand out with steep annual increases following a bitter bout of foot-and-mouth disease. The agency released the latest inflation print today. Annual consumer price inflation eased to 3.3% in August from 3.5% in July. While the unexpected drop is thanks to softer food and fuel inflation, some categories in the basket are still alarming. Stats SA says SAMP rose sharply by more than 14% in August 2025 compared to a year prior, while maize meal rose by more than 8%. The foot-and-mouth disease outbreak in the country earlier this year also disrupted the supply chain and impacted red meat availability. Chief Director for Price Statistics at Stats SA, Petra Kelly.
Beef mince is up 27.2% compared with a year ago. Stewing beef is higher by 32.3%, and beef steak costs 28.6% more. That said, the monthly changes in August were far smaller, the lowest since April. This slowdown comes after factory gate prices for beef carcasses fell almost 8% in July.
Gold's trading at $3,684.85 an ounce. The rand's at 17.36 to the dollar, at 23.71 to the pound, at 20.57 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $68.22 a barrel.
In Diepsloot, reports of a pedestrian has been knocked down. This is on the N14 westbound. After the R511 Winnie Mandela Drive. This is causing more than an hour delay all the way from the R55 Voortrekker off-ramp. So avoid that route if you're leaving Pretoria heading towards Krugersdorp. In Parktown, there's also traffic pressure on the M1 South between Killarney Benz and the Crown Interchange, and in Centurion, accident scene N1 North. Before the R21 Flying Saucer Interchange, causing more than a 20-minute delay from John Foster. This is also due to an accident.
In your sport, Mamelodi Sundowns look to return to the summit of the Betway Premiership as questions swirl around Nasruddin Nabi's future at Kaizer Chiefs. Jose Mourinho tipped to return to Benfica, and Tom Brady announces his return to competitive football.
A look at your weather. Clear skies in store for Gauteng. Tomorrow, Joburg will drop to overnight lows of 10 degrees and peak at highs of 28. Pretoria is at 9 and 27. Vereeniging's at 4, also reaching highs of 27 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi believes the decision taken to disband the political killings task team is suspicious.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
It's 10 minutes past 5 on 7:02 Drive. Thanks for joining us on the show whenever it is that you did join us. It's been great having you with us. Coming up on the show, we're going to look at day one of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Day one done and dusted, but boy, is there loads more to come. Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the sole person testifying today, although there was a scene set earlier from the evidence leader just spelling out how the commission would be proceeding and some opening remarks by the chair of the commission himself. It's been a very, very interesting day. Quiet in the morning, much more intense. I shouldn't say quiet in the morning, but low-key in the morning, very, very intense in the afternoon. So what was said, what's come out, and what is going to need to be explored and fleshed out a great deal more. We'll hear from Oren Singh, our EWN colleague, who's been out in Pretoria at the Bridget Mabandla College of Justice, and we'll hear as well from Dr. Simon Howell, criminologist. A couple of other things we're doing. I did ask you about, well, we started off with pen pals. We then went via Tumblr and looked at sliding into DMs. Your experience of having contact with strangers, what did that lead to? Mo sent us this. He said, when I was a kid, we had BlackBerry Messenger. People would send chains of IDs. I added a guy from one of those. He was an Albanian Rastafarian. Cool guy. He introduced me to a lot of music, taught me about philosophy. I have another friend who learned Arabic, speaking to people over BBM. Maybe you've got a story to share. Share it with us, please, on 072 702 1702.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN traffic report is brought to you by South African Airways. New flights from Johannesburg to Gaborone with South African Airways. Book today at flysaa.com. Karabo Chale, problems in Diepsloot at the N14 West.
Yeah, avoid that route if you can. That's heading towards Krugersdorp. Apparently, a pedestrian has been knocked down. That's N14 West after the R511 Winnie Mandela Drive, now causing more than an hour delay all the way from the R55 Voortrekker off-ramp in Marlborough. Alex, traveling towards Germiston, traffic heavily backed up. N3 South from the Batlu interchange all the way to Van Buren. Also in Edenville, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. R24 westbound, that's traveling into Bedfordview between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange. Parktown, peak hour traffic heading towards Boysons. This is M1 South from Killarney Benz to the Crown interchange, while in the city of Tshwane, there's an accident scene in Centurion, N1 North, before the R21 Flying Saucer interchange, causing about a 30-minute delay from John Foster, and we still have some delays in Irene, approaching the intersection of Nalmay Pierce Drive and Main Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
South African Airways is making it easier to travel this season with more flights to Lagos, Accra, and Sao Paulo. Enjoy more choice, more convenience, and the warm African hospitality you know from SAA. Book now at flysaa.com.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
The day we have all been waiting for has finally arrived. The Madlanga Commission into corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system begins. When you look at phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, looks like this thing is going to take quite some...
This is not a 6 months piece of work.
It's not.
It was never designed to be a 6 months piece of work. And I think when the president gave timelines, it was partly because of the political pressure he gave himself of not excusing Minister Senzo Mchunu from his job entirely, and then give enough space.
Lukhona Mnguni, political analyst.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star, is back. With just one ticket, experience unforgettable music, mouth-watering food, bold fashion, and vibrant art. From Saturday 20 to Sunday 21 September. Celebrate with friends and bring the family for a picnic on Sunday. This year, DSTV celebrates 30 years with international headliners, SA's hottest talent, and a feast that's as big as the vibe. It's Africa's biggest music and food festival. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star and supported by 702. More on deliciousfestival.com.
What do partners of the Gates Foundation do when facing the world's toughest challenges? They keep going. From discovering a plastic drape that helps detect excessive postpartum bleeding faster, to developing better bed nets to kill malaria-carrying mosquitoes, to researching an RSV vaccine that could save hundreds of thousands of children. For every problem, there are people who prove that progress is possible. The Gates Foundation, partners of human potential. Learn more at gatesfoundation.org/keep going.
People are talking, everybody's talking, and they're saying it's time to make insurance great again. They said our low premiums were fake news. Wrong. We're putting customers first. We're gonna drain the insurance swamp. It's full of hidden fees. But when we clean it up, believe me, it's gonna be huge.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now. It'll be the best decision, people are saying, ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just like our insurance.
Did you know the biggest environmental health risk of our time is air pollution? Today, the Gauteng Department of Environment, together with the city of Tshwane, commemorates the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. Catch the Clement Maniatella show live from the JNF Walter Sisulu Environmental Centre in Mamelodi, bringing you all the highlights and live updates. Under the theme Racing for Air, the day raises awareness on air quality issues and inspires sustainable action for a healthier Gauteng. Don't miss it on 702.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Right, let's kick off our coverage of what happened on day one of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry with our EWN colleague Orin Singh, who's been there all morning and all afternoon and joins us now. Oren, good afternoon to you. I want to get a sense from you on this. I mean, it seems to be one of the central themes that came up was the disbanding of the political killings task team and the role played in it by currently, what do I call him, on leave of absence, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Now, it seems to me that General Mkhwanazi was saying that he was advised to do this, persuaded to do this by people who felt that the investigative work being done by the team in Gauteng was getting too close to organized crime syndicates in Gauteng. If I've understood that correctly, here's my question. Has the general as yet offered evidence for that and said, well, I believe it was this person or that person, and this is how I know it? Or is he, to a large extent, still at the stage of repeating what he said before?
John, he alluded to it, but in terms of alluding to the evidence that he's expected and that he's said he's willing to supply to the commission, he did say that possibly that testimony, when he does maybe divulge the person or the name of who he thinks may have been influencing the minister or advising the minister to disband the task team, he says that may possibly need to be held in camera. So that's the one thing we weren't hoping for going into this commission. I think a lot of people, media at large, were wanting to know the names. If you've got evidence of people that you are claiming to have influenced the minister and names, can you provide that and make it public? But we didn't get that, and we're going to wait in the coming days to hopefully see if that evidence is made public and given to us in his testimony.
So a broader question then, Oren. I mean, if you were to look at what Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi said back in July at his televised press conference and what he shared with the Commission today, are there more details on those allegations than we knew about back, 3 months ago, 2 months ago?
Not much, John, to be honest. He went in a little bit into more detail about certain elements of things that he raised in his briefing on July 6th. But to be quite blunt and frank, John, we didn't get much. I don't think many of those who've watched and covered commissions before had an expectation that today was going to be an explosive day. I think we went in knowing that it was going to be a rehash, knowing that it was going to start quite slow. But we are hopeful that in the coming days, that's going to change. And the narrative is going to give South Africans some sort of answers to those explosive claims that he put out in the public. And we're hoping to get more answers to that.
In terms of timeline, I mean, how many more days is he expected to, A, offer his account, but B, presumably questions are going to start coming in?
Well, we're told that he will be in the hot seat. I've been told that we can't call it a witness box because it's not a witness box. But I've been told that he will be testifying for the next few days. For the rest of this week, so up until Friday and likely into the early few days, maybe Monday and Tuesday next week. But we're also told that there will be a day that is likely on the cards for him to testify in camera. So we're hoping that within the days that he is giving his public testimony, that we're going to get some juicy stuff, that we're not going to get a simple just rehash of what he told us in July, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth. Bearing in mind, John, that much of his testimony today was based on a statement that he had drawn up and was being questioned along the lines of that statement.
Oren Singh, thank you. EWN reporter. He's going to be out in Pretoria for the duration. We'll be hearing plenty from him in news bulletins throughout the day tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll clock in with him as well on 702 Drive, 21 minutes past 5.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Well, let's get a perspective now from criminologist Dr. Simon Howell. He's at the University of Cape Town Centre of Criminology. Dr. Howell, welcome. Thank you very much for giving us your time. Given how crucial this commission is, given how eagerly anticipated it has been, I guess we shouldn't load too much onto day one. But what did you see so far? Are we off to at least a reasonable start, given how bumpy the road ahead is likely to be?
Well, I think, on the one hand, at least the first thought is that it has started at least.
Yes.
It took a while to get going. And the second is that I think we are on the right road in the terms of giving evidence and the process. Whether anything will actually be revealed or not is a separate question entirely. And whether that justifies the cost of the commission and whether it simply should have gone through the criminal justice system, those are completely separate questions. But from the get-go, it seems to be going well.
I wonder what your thoughts are on. I don't know if you heard how much you heard of my colleague Oren Singh. His view was that Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is pretty much still, in terms of revelations, where he was at his press conference on the 3rd of July, and that the actual evidence to support, for example, claims like Police Minister Senzo Mchunu was influenced by outsiders who had their own motives for disbanding the political killings task team. Did you hear anything more telling today, or would you agree with Oren that we kind of where we were on those crucial allegations, but most crucially their substantiation?
Yeah, it seemed to me that they were simply going through a pre-prepared statement of sorts, and just preparing the ground for the actual evidence or the provision thereof. At this point in time, I don't think it's strategically useful for them to make any revelations or the like. It's simply preparing and sort of building up the argument so as that when they do present evidence, it is placed before the commission in a manner that is strategic and which ultimately is useful for their argument.
In terms of Oren's expectation and indeed the Lieutenant General himself saying there's certain things he would want to testify about in camera, what's your view of that? I understand fully the necessity, but in terms of South Africans coming away from the process saying, well, everything that needed airing has been aired, if important chunks are in camera, is that just a price we pay for people's safety?
Well, on the one hand, there is the safety consideration, both of the person revealing the information as well as those who are revealed. But on the one hand, this may encourage people to give testimony and truthful testimony because they don't have that pressure. But equally, it could also act as a backdoor for people to strategically use it so as that they can get away with not saying what they need to say. It depends. We'll have to see how it goes, essentially, and whether that is noted by the commission and whether they find that it's not a good strategy to allow people to talk.
Yes.
Ultimately we'll see, but it could go either way.
And finally, Dr. Howell, your thoughts on process and impression. When someone is being led through a witness statement by an evidence leader, one might draw the false conclusion, well, nobody's asking any tough questions. But just for clarity, is that really what the role of the evidence leader is at this point, to make sure that the witness gets to put down as full and precise a version of their version as possible?
Well, yeah. So, at this point in time, it's about providing essentially a statement and providing a context and a background and a basis for their argument later on. So, the tough questions and the revelations will come in the next few days, I sense. But at the moment, it's all about setting up the argument and providing a groundwork so as that there is something to go on when they begin asking those questions.
Thanks so much, Dr. Simon Howell, criminologist from the University of Cape Town Centre of Criminology. Yeah, I personally thought it was off to a decent start. I thought the evidence leader, Advocate Silo, was excellent, and she clarified things and made sure that there was a good pace moving through what was contained in the statement. This is not going to be quick, and this is probably not going to be dramatic, certainly in the early days. 702 Drive will bring you the latest in business in just a moment, but we asked you about communicating with strangers, pen pals, Tumblr, BlackBerry Messenger. Let's hear a few of your thoughts.
Hello, Tate. So I had WeChat, right? I don't know if you remember WeChat. So what would happen with WeChat is you would shake wherever you are in the world. And then if someone else is shaking their phone as well, you connect. So it tells you that there's someone checking their phone. These are their details. Then you can just chat to them. There's actually a friend of mine that I've met through that whole chat thing, but he was in SA, so he was in Tembisa. I will while I was shaking the phone, he did the same, and we started talking.
I think, John, with the pen pals, the most enriching story I have is when I was working at a high school in Dobsonville. We had pen pals with a group of kids from Washington, D.C. So the kids would exchange letters monthly. And this ended up with the kids from Washington, D.C. coming into the school and meeting their pen pals in person. That was the most amazing thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, that must have been absolutely remarkable, connecting with somebody who you meet. Well, it's not online anymore. By the way, speaking of pen pals, I don't know if anyone's seen the movie About Schmidt. It's Jack Nicholson, and Jack Nicholson is suddenly finds himself a widower. His wife dies suddenly. He's a retired man, and he goes through a very bad time. But he has a growing pen pal relationship with an orphan in Tanzania called Ndugu. And there's some absolutely beautiful scenes. Anyway, About Schmidt and pen pals. If you haven't seen the movie, good one. I'd suggest you do. 28 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Muteo Khwaripe, very good afternoon to you. Markets, metal's not doing terribly well, but some others doing better. What's the lowdown?
Let's give you how the markets ended then, starting with some results that came out this afternoon. Momentum Group publishing record earnings for the year ending in June. The group delivering sterling numbers with profits up at 6.2 billion rand, up 41% compared to the prior year. The group reporting a solid operational performance across its various businesses. This includes Metropolitan Life, Momentum Investments, and Guard Risk. That lifted the business. Later on the Money Show, we'll be talking to Janet Marais, the Momentum Group CEO, breaking down some of those results. Then the markets then ending the day up 0.5%. Industrials up more than 1%. Banking stocks also in a good position. Mining shares, though, in the red this afternoon. There were some losses for Anglo, down 1.9%. Truworths down 1.4%, with Life Healthcare also in some weakness. Premier Foods up 6%. DRD Gold is up 4%. Woolies amongst the winners. They were up 3%. Naspers up 2.5%, with Bidvest enjoying some gains of 2%. Rand at this hour, 17 Rand 36 cents, weakening towards that U.S. interest rates announcement later this evening from the U.S. Fed. Jerome Powell said to give the latest interest rates coming out of the world's largest economy. It's at 20 Rand 58 cents against the euro and 23 Rand 72 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $3,686 an ounce, while platinum is at $1,376. Brent crude at $68.12 a barrel. Then tonight on The Money Show, we talk food, and more food, starting with securing Africa's food future through innovation and investment. That conversation we'll be having with Wandile Sihlobo, author and agricultural economist at Agricultural Business Chamber. He'll be joined by Abri Reitenbach, the deputy co-chair of the B20 South Africa Sustainable Food Systems Task Force, talking about what the continent can do to make sure we have food security. Then our markets covered by Chris Stewart, then a portfolio manager at 91. We'll talk about those interest rates coming out of the US, but also what to expect tomorrow from the SARB. Later on the show, we'll be talking to Consumer Ninja Wendy Nola, talking to us about those added costs that you don't see when you buy your new car. She'll be breaking down what to look out for and things you can negotiate against. Then our shapeshifter is Obri Tau, the founder of Mojalav and Tau Foods. He'll be talking to us about his business endeavors and all that he's had to do throughout his entrepreneurial life. All that and more on The Money Show after 6.
.702 Drive, 29 minutes to 6. The very latest news with Maki Molapo. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has revealed how the Provincial Political Killings Task Team was roped in to assist with investigations in Gauteng. He's been testifying on day one of public hearings in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria. Today, Mkhwanazi says the call for assistance for the Political Killings Task Team to assist Gauteng organised crime came from intelligence head Dumsani Khumalo. Aaron Singh has more.
The KZN Political Killings Task Team were requested to assist Gauteng organised crime in the investigations into the assassination of Vereniging engineer Armand Swart. Mkhwanazi alleges that the Gauteng detectives, as well as prosecution team assigned to the case, began receiving threats following the arrest of 3 people for Swart's murder. Reading from a letter sent to him by the senior public prosecutor, Mkhwanazi details how much the accused were paid for the hit.
The investigation has proven that all 3 accused are involved in a serious organized crime syndicate, of which almost R1 million was offered for the assassination in this regard.
Mkhwanazi says a team from outside the province, the Political Killings Task Team, were requested to investigate the matter. Aaron Singh, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Mkhwanazi has concluded his testimony for the day and will resume tomorrow. We move to the courts where the man accused of setting fire to the Usindiso building in Johannesburg CBD stormed out of court during his cross-examination without the approval of the presiding judge. 32-year-old Stembiso Mdlalose appeared visibly frustrated as state prosecutor Tami Mpekana questioned him about lying under oath today. Mdlalose is on trial at the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court for allegedly starting the fire that killed 76 people in August 2023. He initially confessed to starting the blaze, but now says his confession was false, claiming he lied to secure shelter in prison. Alpha Ramushwana has more.
As the state prosecutor questioned Stembiso Mdlalose about statements he made today that contradict his testimony from last week, the alleged arsonist grew visibly emotional. Last week, Mdlalose told the court that he was hanging out with his friends on the 3rd floor when he noticed the building was on fire. However, today Mdlalose claimed he was neither inside the building nor in the vicinity of the hijacked property when the blaze broke out. When pressed to clarify this contradiction, Mdlalose angrily stormed out of the courtroom.
You want us to waste time with something that I just said it as a lie. Now the truth is, I made this illusion so that I can get arrested because I wanted to run away and escape being on the street, being shelterless.
Following his emotional outburst, the court postponed the matter to the 15th of October. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News in Palm Ridge.
Residents in Westbury in the west of Johannesburg still have little to no water a day before the deadline for full restoration of access. Joburg Mayor Dada Morero promised residents last Thursday that full supply would be restored in 7 days. This comes after months of water shortages which led to massive protests in the area. Westbury, Coronationville and surrounding areas are struggling due to aging infrastructure from the system that supplies its water. Westbury resident Saini van Sale filmed his home opening all taps in the house where there's still not a drop.
This is how we have to wash in the morning. We have a bucket next to the basin and we scoop water out of the bucket into the basin, and you have to do what they call a carboy wash. Currently in the tap, as you can see, there's no water coming through. It's open, nothing. Hot water, nothing. Cold water, nothing.
And the South African government has reiterated its call for Israel to end its actions against Palestinians in Gaza following a damning report by the United Nations Commission of Inquiry. Yesterday, the Commission released a report defining Jerusalem's retaliatory attack in the war that was started by Hamas in 2023 as genocidal under international law. Before this, South Africa had taken Israel to the International Court of Justice for claims that the country is killing Palestinians in Gaza. The International Relations Department says all states now need to fulfill their obligations under the Genocide Convention. International Relations spokesperson Crispin Piri.
It is increasingly clear that the Palestinian people are facing a threat of erasure in real time. The entire system of international law is on the line. At stake is not merely the fate of the Palestinian people, but the very principle of justice over impunity.
A look at your weather. A fine Thursday in store for Gauteng. Tomorrow, temperatures will drop to overnight lows between 4 and 10 degrees and peak at highs between 27 and 28 degrees.
Deep Sloot, a pedestrian has been knocked down on the N14 westbound. That's after the R511 Winnie Mandela Drive, causing more than an hour delay from the R55 Fuertrek off-ramp. There's also bumper-to-bumper traffic. Expect about a 30-minute delay in the Marlborough Alex area. That's N3 South between the Platoon Change and Van Buren, and in Centurion there's that accident scene. N1 North before the R21 Flying Saucer interchange, causing about a 20-minute delay from John Foster.
The top story in Eyewitness News, KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has revealed how the Provincial Political Killings Task Team was roped in to assist with investigations in Gauteng.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
We're joined by Salem Nyati, a consumer financial education specialist. Please explain to us what a garnishee order is.
It's when the court is ordered to deduct the debt that you owe from your salary without your voluntary compliance. Let's say, for example, your take home is supposed to be 22,000 rands per month. We've seen people go home with 450 rands because there's like 10 or 12 garnishee orders. Now an employer, yes.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
You've reached in his Renault Duster en route to Dullstrom. This journey is taking to try a sport far more boring than its name might suggest. Fly. Fishing. He'll be in his Renault Duster, which he bought with 40,000 Rand trade-in assistance.
Leave it all behind in the new Renault Duster with 40,000 Rand trade-in assistance. Offer exclusive to Renault Financial Services. Product of APSA. T's and C's apply.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for pharmacies, convenience stores, beauty salons, and more. Corney?
Business Outsurance is definitely the best insurance for my business. Bowled out every other insurance house. Honestly, looking at what you need, my installment came down within a day. Definitely the most professional.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Sir, ma'am, may I take your order?
Yeah, let me get the New York cut, medium rare, truffle fries on the side, and the lady'll have the salmon. Grilled, not poached. 2 dirty martinis. Real dirty.
Leafy, what's with the voice?
Oh, I came over all Tony Soprano.
Get into character on a city break with Premier Hotels and Resorts. Stay Friday and Saturday and get Sunday night for free. Book now at premierhotels.co.za.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
I think, John, with the pen pals, the most enriching story I have is when I was working at a high school in Dobsonville. We had pen pals with a group of kids from Washington, D.C. So the kids would exchange letters monthly. And this ended up with the kids from Washington, D.C. coming into the school and meeting their pen pals in person. That was the most amazing thing to see.
Yeah, thanks for those. Now, coming up, we're going to be playing you some music, and I'm really looking forward to the theme that my colleagues have chosen. But I just want to do one more about memories, about TV shows. Now, this one's a bit long, but it's a great story. Eldon. My favorite television show was Rich Man, Poor Man. The villain was a guy named Falconetti who wore an eye patch over his left eye. The actor that portrayed this character was William Smith. He came into South Africa in 1977 to promote the show. On the morning of his arrival, people had flocked to the Windermere Shopping Centre in Morningside, Durban, to see the actor in person. They heckled him, threw eggs and rotten tomatoes while cursing and swearing at him. He remained composed and professional throughout as policemen and security personnel protected him from the angry and maddened crowd. He calmly explained to them that his character was just an act, and in real life he was unlike this person. And Eldon concludes, television was still a novelty for most people and in its infancy, and the people were adamant that he was a bad person despite his explanation to them of his craft. Wonderful story, eh? From the late 70s, 19 to 6.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele football tonight, Sundowns in action.
Absolutely, John, and they'll look to return to the summit of the Betway Premiership with the win over Marumo Gallants. Despite Peter Shalulile recently becoming the PSL's all-time goal scorer, Miguel Cardoso admits that the forward is not his first-choice striker.
32-year-old, he still scores a lot of goals and we trust him so much. But the question is that I cannot trust Peter to play 7 matches. I cannot trust Ikram to play 7 matches. If I just trust one, if I trust both, I'm more happy. If I trust the 3 of them, because also Lebo is putting pressure on them too, I will be happier. That is the job of a coach, to find the moments where each of them will play.
Match day 1 of the UEFA Champions League also continues with the headline game seeing Bayern Munich up against Chelsea. Harry Kane is looking forward to playing against English opposition, having netted 8 goals against the Blues during his time with Tottenham Hotspur.
The rivalry was a good rivalry we had, especially early on in my Tottenham career, with the kind of that Pochettino era, and we had a lot of tough games, good games against each other. So playing against Premier League opposition, there's always a little bit more expectation around the game. Maybe the Chelsea fans don't like me as much, and when we play Arsenal, the Arsenal fans don't like me as much, but that makes me want to play better, that motivates me.
Liverpool hosts Atletico Madrid, and Arne Slot says new striker Alexander Isak could make his debut.
There's definitely a chance because he's in the squad, so then there's a chance to play, but I would normally always say 99.9% sure, but I can say it's 100% sure that he will not play 90 minutes. But he's part of the squad, so it's already a Champions League game to look forward to. But if people look forward to his playing time, that could mean that could happen tomorrow as well.
Jose Mourinho looks set to return to Portugal 21 years after he's left his home country to join Chelsea. He's been linked with the Benfica job after they fired Bruno Liège following their Champions League defeat against Karabag. Mourinho was sacked by Fenerbahce back in August, 2 days after the Turkish club were eliminated by Benfica from the same competition in the playoffs. And 7-time Super Bowl winner Tom Brady will return to the field in a flag football tournament in Saudi Arabia next year. He'll join current and former NFL stars for the inaugural tournament, which features 3 teams in a round-robin format as the sport builds up to making its Olympic debut at the 2028 Games. Tolakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 17 minutes to 6, this Eyewitness Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Diepsloot delays continuing.
Yes, and motorists must avoid that route at all costs. A pedestrian has been knocked down. That's the N14 westbound after the R511 Winnie Mandela off-ramp. That's causing more than an hour delay all the way from the R55 Voortrekker off-ramp in Marlborough. Marlborough Alex area. There's also traffic pressure on the N3 southbound between the Patroon Exchange and Van Buren. In Edenvale, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the R24 westbound from Edenvale Road to the Kilulis interchange. Driving through Parktown, Joburg CBD, heading towards Boysons, traffic is heavily backed up. This is on the M1 South from Killarney Bend to the Crown Interchange in Tshwane Centurion. We still have that accident scene. N1 North before the R21 Flying Saucer Interchange, causing more than a 20-minute delay from John Foster. And in Irene, expect heavy delays approaching the intersection of Main and Nelmay Pierce Drive. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the lady on her way to work, listening to a love song on the radio. She's recreating the music video in her mind with herself as the leading lady. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a concert on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
A moment ago, we were talking about pen pals, and I just mentioned a Jack Nicholson movie in which there's a wonderful little thread through that, and an absolutely beautiful scene. Jack Nicholson is pen pals? Yeah, he's a pen pal with I think a 12-year-old orphan in Tanzania. So Robin wants to know the name of the movie. About Schmidt is what it's called. It's a good one. I'd say you watch it. Even if you fast forward to the pen. Nah, don't do that. The pen pal scene comes a little bit later, but you need all the rest to set it up and for context. From movies to music, today we are going to talk about a specific genre. It's not quite a genre of songs, is it, Kabazela? It's a way in which songs are set up. Tell us.
Yeah, afternoon, John. So what we want today is we want to take choirs. Would choral would be the right word? Choral music, yeah, choirs. But not on their own. I mean, when you listen to a choir sing or choral music, it's really, really beautiful, right? It can touch you deep down inside. But when you take like a pop song or a rock song, an alternative song, and you add choirs into that in specific parts of these songs, it can really, really, boost the song tremendously and give it a different feeling. So what we want today is those songs that you love that have choirs in the background. And they may start, middle of the song, chorus of the song, towards the end of the song, or maybe even at the beginning. If you know one of those, I haven't seen one of those yet or heard one of those yet. But choral or choirs in songs. So to kick it off, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Madonna, Like a Prayer, and we're going to play just before the choir gets into its climax. Okay, so choirs in popular songs, the very best of those, your favorites, please, on 072 702 1702. Here's Madonna at her best, I think. So Madonna. Now, does anyone know who was the choir in the background? Because this choir has itself, and the leader of the choir, a hugely distinguished reputation of their own. So if you know the answer to that, just drop me a note on that. I'll share it with you in just a moment. But in the meanwhile, songs that have choirs woven into popular music in as effective a fashion as Madonna delivered there with Like a Prayer. Give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 or 072 702 1702.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Gwede Mantashe, the chairperson of the ANC, coming out to say, you all sing very, very nicely, but you have no capacity. And then President Cyril Ramaphosa says it's clear that the municipalities that seem to be doing well happen to be DA run. And I'm paraphrasing. If you are not going to take this admonishment from your president and your chairman, who said there's a lot of capacity, you listen, lekker man. Next capacity, nix. Because you sing so well.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Naked people are totally zen. Because naked people spend less time on insurance admin and more time meditating. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
It's spring, SA, and here at DecoFern, we say it's time to say yes. Say yes to new friends. Yes to new adventures. Will you marry me?
Yes!
And definitely say yes to a few new things.
Welcome to DecoFern.
Say yes to awesome savings at the DecoFern Furniture Spring Sale with up to 35% off on outdoor furniture and much more. In-store now or at decofernsa.co.za.
Every day, South Africans are being squeezed to make ends meet. That's why they're still good.
a new online platform where you can save up to 65% on groceries by buying still good value bags. Packed with groceries by leading retailers that are still perfectly good, just close to their sell-by date. You win by saving, retailers win by cutting food waste, and communities win as Still Good donates 10% of their earnings to food charities. Visit stillgood.co.za. Start getting more bang for your buck with Still Good.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive. So just to tell you about the choir in the background, Andre Crouch, an absolute giant of soul gospel music, 20 Grammy nominations in all, winner on 7 occasions, either for Best Soul Gospel Performance or Best Best Pop Contemporary Gospel Album. That was his last Grammy in 1994. Music, popular music with choirs in the background. Raymond suggests Call the Man by Celine Dion.
Call the man, he's needed here. Needed in the chaos and confusion, from the place, the city hall. Needed where the proud who walk the wire are set to
Celine Dion with Call the Man. Thank you, Raymond, for that one. Calvin says, Whitney Houston, One Moment in Time, as we reflect on songs where choirs have come in. By the way, I mean, choirs are hugely popular in South Africa. Maybe you have your own direct experience. Your choir might have been called in to do backing on some popular music. If indeed you've had that experience and you've got a story to tell, give us a call on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702.
Good evening, John and Tim. This is Leon Makadi here. So one of the songs with kind of like a choir, actually in the beginning, I actually think the choir sounds terrible. The Rolling Stones, You Can't Always Get What You Want. I think, yeah, that would be one of my favorites as well with the choir.
So that's the London Bach Choir at the beginning of a Rolling Stones classic. You can't always get what you want. 702 Drive. Okay, sorry to interrupt you, Mick Jagger, but we're going to move on. Some Foreigners, I Want to Know What Love Is, comes to mind. Don't know the choir bit in that. This one from Nikki, I think The Living Years by Mike and the Mechanics, has a choir in the background. We'll have to check up on that. But yeah, I must. Oh, Gavin also says, I want to know what love is. Foreigner, please play it. It's awesome. Let's see if we can line that up. You too, Glenn is highlighting that, saying, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Let's take a listen.
Hi, John. There's the Beyonce one. He Still Loves Me, I think is the name of the song. It's a beautiful song with a beautiful choir melody in the background. Gillian Midran.
'Cause I went to bed on top of the world. Today the world's on top of me. Now everybody's got opinions. They ain't fit in my position. And that it breaks my heart when I hear what they have to say about me. What they say about you. I always fall short of being worthy. Lord, I ain't worthy. 'Cause I ain't good enough. But you still love me. I ain't no superstar. I wanna be for you. 'Cause I ain't good enough. But you still love me. I'm not perfect. Not perfect. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm trying my best. Trying my best. But this ain't good enough. No, no. Something about the world. If I don't succeed, I ain't good enough. Just ain't good enough. But you love me.
If you ain't worthy, just raise your hands and let me know that you understand.
That we are all so blessed to be loved. Stand for him or fall for anything. 'Cause through his eyes we all look the same.
Beyonce there with the Fighting Temptations. Now this one from Tapiwa says, Tapiwa listening from Pretoria, Heal the World by Michael Jackson. I remember that actually. Choir with young people, if I'm not mistaken. Mpo says, my favorite song with the gospel choir is by Kanye West, Lord You Are Holy. Also coming from Pretoria from Attridgeville. Wayne highlights the Donna Summer song, State of Independence. And then a completely different point, but a nice one about choirs from Dr. Phil, who says, joining one was recommended by a psychiatrist as an effective strategy to prevent burnout at a recent Doctors' Congress. We'll have to have a chat about that, actually. If you members of a choir, we'll find a way to talk about that in one of the remaining shows this week. Let's go back to your notes.
Hi, great show. The song that makes that I think that's best with the choir, it's Glenn here from Santon, is a song by U2. I still haven't found what I'm looking for with a Southern Baptist kind of choir playing in the background. Thanks. Bye.
YouTube, 1987 from the Joshua Tree. Fabulous. I agree. What a wonderful use of a gospel choir. Bringing us to an end of 702 Drive for today. We're back at the same time tomorrow. From me, John Perlman, good night.
And now, The Money Show with Moteo Paripe.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Krotus is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud host of the Macro and Risk Management Conference 2025. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. Tonight on The Money Show, we're going to look at the gold price rocketing